Take it away, Speed.
Well, I didn't want nobody to know my real name, but yeah, I guess my name is Steve from now on. Hey, everybody, this is Steve, otherwise known as Warped Speed. Um, and well, thank you very much for and once again inviting your brother from another mother, homie Ricky, to another lively conversation where me and you just, where you and I just never seem to agree on things, which is okay because we're not here to uh, do anything else besides just conversate. And perhaps if we can provide each other a difference of opinion that we may find relevant, to the point of perhaps influencing difference of opinion within yourselves, well, hey, so be it. I mean, for example, you were able to convince me, for the most part, that Lomachenko is not should not be considered a Hall of Famer, and where I initially disagreed. Now I still disagree to that extent because I figure over time he will become a Hall of Famer himself. Although we were able to go through all of the names of likely nominees, candidates, and nominees
Yo,
for the
yo, what you talking
foreseeable
about, man? What are
future.
you talking about? What are you talking about?
Oh, I'm just shooting the shit while you were taking a dump. What, were you taking a dump, or were you mopping the floor, or what were you doing?
Yeah, I was shooting the shit.
Shooting the shit or taking the shit?
I was doing both.
Okay, I know I was shooting the shit while you were taking the shit because
Listen,
I was talking
well, here
about
we
how.
have Otar Eranosian versus Roger Gutierrez. And Otar is winning this fight, but he did get dropped in the second round. And Roger's making it a good fight. Yo, why y'all mute yourselves?
Well, because you're talking and I'm screaming to my brother.
Oh, okay, got you. And yeah, Roger's doing as best as he could. But I like Roger. You guys might know him a little bit. He's had a trilogy with Rene Alvarado, and he's got
Yeah.
a killer right hand. Like he's not afraid to throw that right hand. He throws that right hand with conviction, decent technique, decent speed. And but Otad, he started off really fast, really quick, all in the first round, and it looked like he was going. This fight wasn't going to go past essentially 4 rounds until the second round happened, and he gets dropped. And since then, he's just putting on the pressure. But what I've seen, and I've done a little research on him,
Yeah.
he's a well versed amateur. He's got a couple of silver medals in the European Games and in the AIBA 2019. He got a bronze. So this guy is slick, and you can tell that he's heavily influenced by Lomachenko in terms of the pivots and the side to side movement that he likes to do, as well, even with the punch combinations and sequence that he likes to throw on the inside when he does those little pivots around the lead foot of the opponents.
Put on that one fight on the top.
But yeah, so far this fight's been really entertaining. In fact, many of most pro boxes fights, it's I'm always really impressed by their content, and it's always good to see Chris Algieri and Paulie Malignaggi commentating.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So actually, you know what? I know that you had tried to kick off this live a few minutes prior to the start of this one, but well, you know, you and I were all new to this whole YouTube channel going live kind of thing. So you went to do something, and you left me in charge of narrating and breaking down the fight as I saw it. So I'm I'm uh, I'm participating in this live via my mobile device, and I opened up the ProBox app. Again, ProBox app is the best bang for your buck if you're a fan of boxing. It's only $2 a month. um, and I've seen nothing but quality fights, nothing but quality fights, up and comers, names that have been something in the sport, but they're maybe on their way out, but they face him against other men that are equally experienced, almost on their way out also. And because they have experience and they're equally matched, because they've gone through the ups and downs of this sport, they put on hell of a great fight. So if you guys are interested in supporting the sport, remember, do not illegally stream. Whenever you can, value the sacrifice that these warriors uh, go through just to provide us the level of violence that we desire. And in fact, the Georgian, who fights a lot like a Lomachenko, but an orthodox version, he just knocked down his opponent with all that pressure and an overhand left
Wait,
to
what
attempt.
round are you in?
I just put that baby on live right now. So whatever round it is, I can't see the number because there's a Xbox here in front of it. But let me see. The round just ended, and it's they stopped the fight.
Oh
This,
wow, you're ahead of me. Damn.
oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I thought we were watching the same thing. Oh yeah, and the kid's not protesting. He's bleeding from the eyeball. Uh,
Ooh.
yeah, he's bleeding
So
from the eyeball.
throwing and picking his shots, flurries, left hook, right hook, top, bottom,
Uh-huh.
and doubling up the right hook to the liver, dropped him. Damn.
Yep. That was a lot of pressure in such a short time frame. Uh, his opponent was a good one. Like we had spoken about it before. I think he may have been handled by. Did you say Oscar De La Hoya, Golden Boy?
Yeah, he at one point was signed with oh wait, hold on. Right hook, left hook, right hook. Oh, they're just the round is stopped. Okay, good, good. Wow, they stopped the fight.
Yeah,
Damn. Good
yeah.
stuff. Um Wait, there's a no stoppage. No stoppage. This is kind of crazy. Did they stop it or not stop it?
I don't know. They're protesting,
Oh,
and
no, no.
the
So I'm not exactly too sure. Maybe they changed their mind. I'm not exactly too sure, but this is pretty interesting stuff. Let me mute this. But yeah, he Rene, not Rene Alvarado, but Roger Gutierrez was signed at one point
wait,
to.
wait, 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 wait. What's going on there?
I'm not too sure. Maybe there was some miscommunication between the ref and the corner or the doctor.
Some big black dude is screaming at everybody, and the doctor just stepped up to check out Roger
So
Gutierrez.
that guy is the inspector,
Uh huh.
and they're trying to get some type of arrangement.
Oh wait, wait, wait. I think it's some kind of chastisement, is what they're saying. Some kind of punishment. They're chastising Roger Gutierrez. Uh, they're screaming at him. They're talking down to him for whatever reason or another. But right before they separated these fighters, Roger Gutierrez was just hanging his head to his opponent's shoulder. The Georgian fighter who fights like an Orthodox Lomachenko. Oh, okay. All right. Well, whatever it was, ladies and gentlemen, whatever all that whole back and forth was at the corner with the big black guy screaming at everybody, a white lady screaming at the fighter, and the fighter himself just nodding down. Whatever happened, the fight is officially over. The
So
fight is officially over.
telling Roger Gutierrez, can you see? Puedes mirar. It's like, yeah, I can see. Like, dude, the blood is not gushing and it's not, pouring down my eye. So it's a little ridiculous. I'm not
Oh,
too sure what the inspector saw or what the trainer or the referee saw, but I know that the 10-second bell should have ended a long time ago. I don't know if the black guy, the inspector, is basically saying like, hey, the round is over. But they should stop it, yeah, because Roger was really hurt. Could he continued? Of course, he got up, but now you gave him like 2 or 3 minutes to recover, and yeah, that was a pretty good, very good performance by Otar.
Lotar.
Impressed by him. I'm guessing
Yeah.
this is the weight class of 130.
Yeah,
If
130.
yeah, I believe so. I'm not too sure if it is at 130. Um, and the reason I bring up the notion that it's 130 is because Roger Gutierrez lost his championship fight for the vacated belt versus Hector Luis Garcia, the guy who got knocked out by Tank, and he moved up to 135. That fight took place at 130, so I'm assuming this fight is at 130 between the lightweights. But if that's the case, yeah, we got a baller here, bro. Otar can fight the likes of Joe Cordina He can fight
Oh,
all these dudes.
oh,
And what's that guy that you wanted to talk about that just beat Xavier Martinez? Was it Jose Campos or
oh. Oh, before we proceed, the homie Ricky.
what's his name?
What up? What up? Before we go on there, I wanted to say that that Drew was on the he was in the background. He's apparently chatting about how he can't speak and he can't hear. But what I'm saying is that he probably used the old link that you had provided earlier on.
No,
Um,
because he was on the panel, so it was just either I muted him accidentally or something. But that's not I don't know. So what was that guy's name that you kept wanting to talk about at 1:30?
oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. So I like to keep up with the news. His name is Andres Cortes.
Okay,
Uh,
Andrew Cortez.
Andres Cortes. So Andres Cortes, he and the boxing scene had an article about how Andres Cortes he says that he's earned the right to fight the winner of the Emmanuel El Vaquero Navarrete versus Oscar Valdez fight. And now I don't mind displaying my ignorance, right? Because look again, I always tell everybody I'm a fan, diehard fan, but I don't have a memory to hold all names and faces of everybody. I've done too much drugs in my youth for my brain to function like that. But Andres Cortes is a name that I am not familiar with. Now, if
Yo, your mic went out, so you have not been saying anything. Either you got bad Wi-Fi or you're just completely getting
uh,
out.
I'm,
But
I'm good. I think what happens is that when
if
I
you get a text or a call, it interrupts the flow.
oh goodness. Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, so what I'm noticing, right, is that when I'm using this StreamYard link, I cannot background the StreamYard uh, uh, page. So right now, when I went to text Drew about it, then that's probably when you experienced that intermittence of sound. But what I was saying about this fighter is that I don't recall having seen him, and if I have, I don't recall anything memorable. Uh, but then again, that might just be my fault because my brain just doesn't retain much anymore because of again
Again,
uh,
because of your drug use. You just said
drug
that
use,
two or
big
three
drug use.
times.
I used to
So,
do heroin. I used to.
Campos do you want to talk about?
So who? Oh,
Whatever that
so
dude's name, Ortega, Campos, Ruiz, the guy that beat Xavier
yeah.
Martinez.
So what I wanted to say is, what do you know about him? Because I want to be educated more on this. Because the way that I see it, these two fighters that are gonna be fighting this weekend are high caliber pugilists.
Okay,
Um,
what I know about Andres Cortez, all right,
mhm.
besides what BoxRec knows, I seen him in two fights against Xavier Martinez, a guy from up North California in Sacramento, who I know Xavier Martinez. He's a pretty good fighter. At one time, I think he was signed with Floyd Mayweather Promotions, and
Uh-huh.
Xavier Martinez had only lost to Robson Conceição. It was a good fight, but Robson was throwing a little more punches, and Xavier started to shell up a little bit because he was getting clocked in the tempo and the body, and he didn't want to get knocked out, so he played it a little safe. And also, he got outworked by Robson Conceição. Conceição is that Brazilian gold medalist that, in my opinion, beat Oscar Valdez and then lost to Shakur when Shakur didn't make the weight by 2-3 pounds overweight, whatever the case may be. But
And didn't try to shed it.
what I know about Andres Cortez is, if I'm not mistaken, he also fought Andy Vences. I could be wrong, and I might be mistaken on, right? But Andy Vences is from San Jose, California, a few hours from here. Now, I could be wrong. I'm not too sure if they fought, but I know that I've seen him twice. And Andres has a little bit of a mean streak. Not only does he have a good understanding in the foundation of boxing, he's got a good jab that he throws, and he's got a nice one too. But he can dig it up on the inside, and he can get down and dirty.
Hmm.
He'll go in there with headbutts, elbows. He'll dig body shots. He's just mean, and he's a really good fighter. He's mean, nasty, like I said. And in that fight against Xavier Martinez, which was I don't know. I'm not too sure when it happened. Last week
Mhm.
or 2 weeks ago on Friday. It was on the undercard of Siniesa Estrada versus Yudica, Alejandra Yudica. And yeah, I just think that he's a scrappy dude. Andres Cortez is a scrappy dude. I personally don't like him. I don't know what it is about him. He just reminds me of Jose Benavides Jr. And I don't like Jose
Mm.
Benavides Jr. Again, mean face, mean, scrappy dudes, but they're good. And I'm not going to deny their talent. Now, if this guy's at 130 and he's looking to fight the winner of Navarrete and Oscar Valdez, those two guys might be in trouble. I can see this guy beating them. And the reason is because not only is he taller, but he can bang with them. And I just saw that he
Oh,
has a good chin because Xavier Martinez hits pretty hard. Xavier's like 5'7", but he's got like a 72 arm length. So his
oh,
punch and all that bone and from traveling to A to B, right, from arrested position to score, Xavier has pop. He showed
yeah.
it against Robson Conceição, and he showed it in this fight. Unfortunately, against Andres Cortez, he threw an elbow, and it started, developing a little bit of a not a hematoma, 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 but a little bit of bruising and swelling under that eye.
Hemophilia.
1-2, and then just opened that gash right open, and Robert Garcia ended up stopping it. And it was
Were you
turning.
trying to say hemophilia or homosexual?
Nah, nah, nah. It was a hematoma. It's that big ass bruise that Keith Thurman had when he faced like Robert Guerrero. But yeah, Andres
Ouch.
Cortez can beat this guy. But anyway, going back to this guy, Otar Iranosian, he's got
Yeah,
the goods. He's gonna be
he's
able to
good.
give fighters like Rakimov, Joe Cordina a good run for their money. So I'm excited for
Yeah,
the 130 weight class enough, and I just hope they fight. And
yeah.
with Valdez and Navarrete happening this Saturday, man, this division is shaping out to be a good one. I wish that Shakur had stayed at 130. I wanted him to fight Joe Cordino when he unified those belts. But be that as it may, he decided to move up to 135. And the fact that he's not probably going to get the Lomachenko fight, probably not going to fight Jermaine Ortiz, I don't know, or maybe even Devin Haney, it kind of leaves Shakur with his dick in his hand out in the cold. So had he stayed at 130, disciplined himself a little bit, he probably would have been fighting Joe Cordina or been one fight away to be undisputed already.
Yeah,
Um,
it's the thing about Shakur Stevens is that he went through three divisions and what, like a year and a half, 2 years at most. Like he just went from 126. Navarrete skipped 126 and went to 130. Uh,
Navarrete was a champion at 126, I think. He's a three-time division, 122, 126, and 130. He beat Ruben Villa at 126, defended it against Joel Gonzalez, probably Christian Baez. I forgot who else. And then he moved up to 130.
after Shakur went to 135, or how come they
I'm
didn't
not
fight?
exactly too sure the order of operations, but it doesn't matter. At one point, had Shakur just stayed at 130, he probably fights Navarrete. He
Yeah,
probably fights Joe Cordina. The fact that the motherfucker moved up to 135, like who you gonna fight? I mean, you can fight Yoish and all these guys from Japan, which are really good fighters, but it's like Joe Cordina is a good fighter. You saw how he fought against yeah, Rakimov in February. It was barn burner. It was fucking amazing. It was a
beautiful
threatening,
fight.
it was skillful, it was gritty. He showed heart, he showed chin. It's up there with Sergey Darenchenko and Jaime Munguia for 40 of the year.
Yeah, that was one of the best high register, high quality, high skilled fights that I've seen in a long while. Besides, of course, Devin Haney and Vasily Lomachenko. Those two fights right there is what any fan of the sport can find much entertainment, much value in. They were very tough. They threw the kitchen sink at each other. They pulled out all the tricks. It was an amazing fight. Both of those. In fact, this year just adds, those two fights just add to the greatness of this year. Which I
Best
this year really
130
has
pound.
130 pound.
Yeah, who's the best 130 pounder in your opinion?
Yeah. Jeez, I would say maybe. Well, Well, we're gonna find out this weekend. But Joe Cordina, uh, I like Joe Cordina.
Yeah,
I
I asked
liked.
that question because I believe the champions right now are Joe Cordina, and he has the IBF belt. And the reason I
Yeah,
like Joe Cordina is because he knocked out Kenichi Ogawa. All right, that's a
Kenny
Japanese fighter
Shogawa.
who knocked out in the first or second round. Just a
Yeah,
beautiful or two over the top. He
it was a
feinted it, boom,
beautiful
just led two,
mongoose punch.
clocked him right in the kisser, and that's all she wrote. And then he fought Rakimov. And Rakimov, if you, I don't even know how to pronounce his first name, but he had a good fight, and I thought he beat Jojo Diaz. That's the only draw that he had. So Cordina's been, he's a bad dude. He's
Yeah,
good.
yeah.
And I wish he would have fought Shakur when Shakur had both of the belts. They could have unified because the other champion, besides Navarrete right now, Navarrete's a champ. Joe Cordina's a champ. You have Hector Luis Garcia, who got knocked out by Tank, a champ. And I think Oshaki Foster is a WBC champ, and he just beat Ray Vargas. So again, I believe those are the four champions at 130, and every single one of those fights are badass.
Yeah,
Oshaki
yeah.
Foster might be the better one, but just because he beat Ray Vargas, it's hard to say that Ray Vargas is that dude. Like I don't like that Nacho Libre skill that he does. I think he's the worst boxer that
Nacho
Nacho
Libre.
Bedenstein. Yeah, that's the Nacho Bedenstein fighter. I think that's the worst
Oh,
boxer Nacho Bedenstein
Nacho
can
Libre.
cultivate. I just don't think highly of Ray Vargas. I think he's, I don't know, his style is very, but I could be wrong. Maybe the motherfucker is really good, Ray Vargas, because I thought Mark Maxio was gonna knock him out, and I learned that Mark Maxio cannot cut off the ring. That dude bunny hops side to side, and Ray Vargas made him look stupid. I
Bunny
was
hops.
very disappointed on Mark Maxio. I lost
Yeah.
money on Mark Maxio because he was plus 265. And after knowing that, I realized why.
Yeah, Joe Cordina, I would say Joe Cordina. Oshaki Foster actually just it was yesterday or today. Matchroom won the bidding for his fight versus I can't remember the name. Again, heroin use, smoking pot. Man, I done it all. I done it all.
Man,
I
you
once
weren't doing no heroin, man. Shut up, dude. Fucking liar, dude.
Hey, but I wish I did. I wish I did. Nah,
No,
no,
you
yeah.
don't.
So that
You
just
just
kidding.
keep
No,
bragging, guy.
yeah, no, I know. I'm just messing around. But anyways, yeah. So I forget what the name of it is, but yeah, Matchroom just picked up that fight. So hopefully, we'll see that in the Matchroom map because for the most part, people have just been complaining about its misfit and influencer fights most recently, and nothing of value for actual boxing fans, which is. You know, I understand that notion. I understand why people would say that, but if they just give the Misfits a shot, I'm not saying they're gonna fall in love with it because it's not boxing.
Whoa,
It's
whoa,
more
why are
like a
you talking
circus
about
show.
misfits? Why are you talking about that?
Why am I talking about it? Because I just said that's the only fight that Matchroom picked up that's good. Besides, because everybody's been saying that it's Misfits fight. That's all they've been putting for the past couple of months now. So what I'm
Yeah, the
saying is they
zone
just
has
picked up
lost a lot of
Oshaki Foster.
momentum. The zone
Yeah,
has lost a lot of momentum.
and I just said Oshaki Foster and his fight was just picked up by them. So that just adds to one of those actual boxing nights where some of us might actually find some pleasure from because most everybody's been complaining about the zone for a couple of months now. But
Right,
anyways,
because they have not dropped any good fights. Like they
and
lost, like their best fight this year has been Joe Cordina versus Rakimov and Sergey Derenchenko versus Jaime Munguia. Now those two fights have been amazing. Even that Luis Neri fight versus that Igis Klimas fighter, that was
yeah,
a
that
really good
was
fight.
yeah,
But
that was in the zone.
nobody, nobody really watched those fights. They hear about them, but they really ain't watching them. Now, what I mean by that is, I'm not saying that there's not a diehard fan base that is in tune with these fights. Obviously, we are participants of those showings. But what I'm saying is, the biggest fights that the zone can offer this year, in the likes of Virgil Ortiz versus Stanionis, it fell through the water. If you
Hmm.
want to say any Anthony Joshua fight is big, sure, but not exactly, right? Like Dylan White does not get your juices flowing. Now you're not like rubbing your hands and you're about to throw a party and invite everybody and be like, "Yo, AJ's fighting Dylan White." No, but had AJ fought, let's say like Wilder, Fury, maybe Martin Bacoli, maybe you'd be like, "Bro, we're in for a treat." Versus Dylan White, you might be in for a treat because these guys have like a domestic rivalry, but like, who cares about Dylan White? Like,
Yeah.
dude is terrible. Let alone a drug cheat 3 times. I think he's failed 3 drug tests and on 3 separate occasions. And it's whatever's. But anyway, Mr. Larry Liston, what's going on with you, brother? He says Oshaki Foster is fighting Eduardo Rocky Fernandez next, while Ugas is fighting Barrios for an interim belt.
Ooh.
Suleiman, WBC president, just confirmed this.
Wow. Mario Barrios and Nugas.
Man, Mario Barrios cannot get an easy fight. It's been Tank at 140, maybe a little dehydrated, whatever the case
Keith Thurman.
might be. Keith Thurman and now Ugas.
Yeah.
I mean, damn, they just want to recycle him and just ruin his career. Not even build nothing off of him. No momentum, no. Um, but salute to Barrios for taking these tough fights and the lack of inactivity and still be like, hey, I'm willing to take the biggest fights. That's a great fight, by the way. I'll be rooting for Barrios, but I think Ugas will just piece him up. Ugas is really good. I like his skill. And if he's still with Ismael Salas, yeah, I cannot think of any better trainer than Salas right now. What about you, Speed? What you think?
Ugas versus Barrios. Um. Wow, that's a hell of a fight. I think it's really gonna boil down to who's got the moxie to continue fighting, because we know both of those guys can keep going. Uh, Ugas took a beating at the hands of Spence. Like I know he already looked funny with he being dilapidated of uh, you know hair on his face, but when he got beat up like that, well, it just looked even funnier. So, but that doesn't mean that he was not having great success of his own with this movement, and in fact, his standing right in the middle fighting style that he decided to display against Errol Spence, because we do know that Jordani Sugas can move. So it just really depends. If we're gonna watch a more stationary, brawling type Ugas, which was doing quite good work against Spence, that might make it an even funner fight against Mario Barrios. But Mario Barrios has just come from fighting Thurman, and he was doing well with him. Well, he fought Gervonta Davis. He had some success until he started getting bodied. Um, I do feel that the level of fighters that you've fought recently will allow you to take what you learned and employ it to the next fight. So with that being said, it's a tough one because you have Jordani Ugas, who just fought Spence, and right before that, Manny Pacquiao. Those are some of the greatest names that you can fight. And Mario Barrios, he fought Thurman, who used to be a great name, and Gervonta Davis, who's a smaller guy. So I guess I would have to give it to Jordani Ugas, especially if he decides to implement a little bit of footwork instead of just brawl. But if he wants to brawl, then I think Mario Barrios, whose power really hasn't translated well going up, will still have enough to keep him in his place. So I would say Jordani Ugas.
Yeah, I would favor Ugas as well. I think again, since he's training under Ismael Salas, I believe his technique has gotten that much better. His punch placement as well, his durability, and he goes in there with experience. Even though he got beat by Spence and it was stopped, it showed me the depths of what he's willing to go to get a victory and hang in there
Yeah.
tough. And not a lot of fighters would do that. It reminded me of Andre Berto, especially the way his eye got that deep of inflammation and swelling and pus and juice and all that stuff. He It reminded me of Andre Berto versus Robert Guerrero when he gave him alien eyes. And not a lot of fight, and Berto still fought through that 12 rounds. And Ugas had to as of right now has never made any excuse, and I like that when fighters just take it on the chin, whether it's their night or not, and they heal up and they're ready for the next one. So yeah, man, Barrios and Ugas, that's an amazing fight. I hope it's not pay per view because
Wow, that would
these
be
are
a
big time
slap in the
fights.
face.
I heard that maybe not Beterbiev, but what's his name? Andrade, Demetrius Andrade versus
Oh God, David
Benavides fight for
Benavides.
pay-per-view. And it's like, bro, dude, did you guys not learn? Did you guys not learn from Plant versus Benavides? If you don't put that on pay-per-view, maybe 500 to a million people tune in and watch it on regular Fox or on regular Showtime. If you and you restrict people by putting that stamp, oh, that it's a pay-per-view fight, people ain't gonna spend that money on it. I'm very
Yeah,
interested in that fight, but I don't want to put hard-earned money in it. If we looked at the pay-per-views that we bought, we probably bought in 5 or 6 at 80
yeah.
bucks a pop. That's $400. I'm not lying to you. Like I've enjoyed all the fights that we purchased, but I like $400 burgers as well. Like that goes a long ways. I mean, not
So
a $400 burger, but you feel me? But
yeah, but yeah, I've spent a great penny in pay per view fights this year, the year prior. In fact, it would be a rarity the pay per view that I skip. For the most part, I do pay uh, every single pay per view offering. Um, it's rare that I haven't. I watch Misfit fights that are pay per view, KSI fights, Jake Paul fights. I watch a lot of them. I've been getting into the bare knuckle boxing. I subscribe to the bare knuckle fight app. As we just mentioned and we just watched, I'm subscribed to the Pro Box app, which we just seen some fights that presented to us. Likely one of the better fighters at 130, who's probably going to be pit against some of the big names holding belts at the moment. And we know this because one of their fighters just fought last weekend on the Showtime card. Um, he's this fighter from Seattle, Washington, of all places. Um, very a very exotic looking guy. Looks sort of like Latino and black. I don't know, and he has a funny name. But nonetheless, he was fighting on the show, this Pro Box app for his last 2 fights. And they were scrappy fights, by the way, very hard fought. And all of a sudden, he gets this fight at Showtime, and he did lose. So Pro Box is opening up the doors for these fighters to move on to bigger and better things. And this Otan, who we just saw fight, he looks the goods. And I would wager that somebody's going to pick him up. He's not going to be fighting for the Pro Box app much longer. I could see Matchroom picking him up because they can probably get him on the cheap, and he promises good violence and a interesting, creative, and pressure fighting style. So I think we have a good fighter coming from these apps. But nonetheless, what I'm trying to get at is, yes, I do have a fatigue for spending money where I don't have to. And David Benavides and Demetrius Andrade, God bless him, I've watched many of their fights over the years. They are still not the type of fighters that have provided me uh, any idea, any semblance of significance to pay 60, 70, $80 prices just to see them fight, especially if we get Andrade, who can put up a stinker. Knowing how highly skilled he is, he can put up a stinker. But of course, it is a very interesting matchup potentially. But none of them hold belts, and we cannot say that Demetrius Andrade should get pay-per-view money just because a lot of people have ducked him, and he's ducked a lot of people. And David Benavidez, who's most recently just fought um, Canelo's leftovers. So I don't think I want to pay for that. But if the undercard is stacked, I'll pay for that.
Yeah, even if the undercard is stacked, I don't care for it. Look, man, pay per view should be for two things, all right? A majestic fight, and it can be like legacy, or it can be like a big spectacle like Tank versus Ryan, or it's just that. It's either a majestic fight or it's a legacy fight. That's it. Andrade versus David Benavidez is just a regular fight. No different from Jaime Munguia, Sergey Derenchenko. No different from Luis Neri versus that Igis Klimas fighter. And no different from Joe Cordina versus Rakimov. It's just a regular fight that is very good, but doesn't deserve to be pay-per-view worthy.
Okay,
You know
so
what I mean?
what if Demetrius Andres starts saying things about Benavidez' mama, like he starts cracking your mama jokes? Is that in the
Again,
spectacle
that
enough?
doesn't matter.
But you
Like
said it
that's
was a
just
spectacle.
listen. But in a spectacle, in the sense of like it grabs, it's like a fantasy matchup, right? Like Ryan versus Tank.
That was
Like
never a fantasy matchup.
a fantasy because a lot of people didn't think that it was gonna happen.
That's it. Oh my God.
Because when you look at, like, for instance, Jermell versus Canelo, that's a fantasy matchup in the sense that two weight classes they didn't fight 10 years ago, and all of a sudden now they are. So it's just like it wasn't going to happen then, but now it's happening now when one guy is moving up these weight classes, fighting almost at 200 pounds, right? 175 rehydrating. Jermell always remaining at one weight class. It's a fantasy matchup, and that grabs a lot of people's attention. Andrade versus Benavidez is one for legacy, but in terms of eliminating other contenders to get to Canelo. Like, for instance, if David Benavidez went on a run, all right, he's going on a run if he does fight Andrade. Beating Plant, let's say he beats Andrade, and let's say he wants to eliminate David Morrell. Those three fights to get to Canelo, that's worthy. But the journey shouldn't be, oh, I'm a pay-per-view fighter now, and then Canelo. No, your fight versus Canelo, and you as the last man standing, that's pay-per-view worthy. All of a
You
sudden,
know,
I'm a pay-per-view fighter. Like, no, motherfucker, you are not. Like, for instance, Bud Crawford versus Victor Postal, I believe in 2017 or 18, that was a pay-per-view fight. Or Top Rank sold it to us as a pay-per-view fight. That shouldn't have been that. It shouldn't have been that. Look, I digress. I don't want to get too caught up into it. And they do fight. That's an amazing fight. Or Shaki Foster versus Rocky Fernandez. Really good fight. Barrios versus Ugas are really good fights. They just ain't pay-per-view. Now, I don't care
yeah.
if they won first bids or it was really expensive. Just because Triller overpaid, for instance, if Triller overpaid for Teofimo versus George Kambosas $6 million, 3 times the fucking market value of that fight, and you lose money, well, that's your fucking fault for not understanding the market, for not understanding boxing, for not understanding the profile of these fighters. You can't sell me shit and be like, oh, this is a steak. You just can't. I'm not going to touch it and go near it, anything. So I'm not saying Andrade versus Benavidez is shit. No, two undefeated cats, amazing fight, crazy style between Andrade, kind of tarantula, long arm, Kevin Durant, swinging punches from ducking and looking at the ground, throwing these no-look hooks over the top, and David Benavidez, the Mexican monster. These are some good fights, but yeah, it's not pay-per-view.
All right, so you're gonna skip that one, huh? Look,
Yeah.
this is what I say. Look, whenever people are pressed for money, whenever people are pressed for money, right? They always say, oh, this fight is too expensive. This is not worthy of my hard earned greenbacks. I say, okay, that's fine, but that should not stop you from watching the fight and making a good event out of it. Like, for example, whenever I want to watch a pay-per-view but I don't want to just pay for it, I host a little gathering where I get some of my boxing friends and we make a night of it. We get some ribs, we make some tri-tip, we drink some Mexican soda pop, and everybody pitches in. And I've hosted pay-per-view fight nights where I pay for the fight and I walk out with $500 in my back pocket
No,
because
you
every
didn't.
get out of here,
Give me
get
proof.
out of here. Who are you gonna tell me? Who are you gonna tell me? So,
Give me
but
proof
anyways,
that that happened.
man, I'm not gonna release any of my financials to
Lying,
you.
bro.
But anyways, look, listen. The more people you invite at $5 a pop, you pay for that and you get cash back. It's simple as that. But you don't have to see it as a
First of
financial
all,
burden.
stop it, man.
You don't have to
You live
say
in
it
a
as a
you live in
financial.
a small little house where we can't even fit 20 people. Let alone if everybody pitches in $5, 20 times five is 100. You just said you left with $500 in your pocket. That means you have up to 25. No, I'm not good at math, but that sounds like you have 50
Do you
people.
want me? Do you want me to make it rain? Is that what you? Are you asking me to make it rain? I'm not gonna make it rain. Uh, so listen. So what I'm trying to get at is this: it's how you do it. It's how you do it that
Look,
that can allow you to watch these fights
we
without
gave
necessarily
Andre and
streaming.
Benavides too much time of our lives already.
Yeah, yeah. So let's get down to the brass tacks. This
I
is
want to
the
go to
thing I
the
wanted to talk
basic
to you
point,
about.
not boxing related. Since you are a big fan of Noah Hawley, for the viewers, for our grand viewers out there, Noah Hawley is an amazing writer. And to my knowledge, I only know him from a show called Fargo. Now, I know there's
Great
a
show,
movie written by Ethan Cohen and the Cohen brothers.
which was
Fargo was
whatever.
Scammy in 1996, but there's an
Yeah, it
amazing
was
show that
whatever.
came out in 2014. And I think there's only been 4 or 5 seasons. Anyway, Noah Hawley is rumored to be writing, directing. I'm not too sure if they're in the pre-production, production, or post-production phase, but there's supposed to be an original Alien show. Okay, I bring this because I don't know if it's next year. There's going to be an Alien movie called Alien Romulus. Okay, now I didn't know what the word Romulus meant. I don't even know what it is, but I guess it's like this Italian person who um, allegedly founded Rome. And the reason I bring up this alien, just talking different from boxing related, because boxing gets really exhausting. But there's
It's
this
because you
saying.
ain't doing it right.
There's this saying. No, well, look.
You
There's this
want to
saying.
talk Noah
Whoa,
Hawley
whoa, whoa,
instead of talking Manny Pacquiao once you train Naoya Inoue?
man. Stop
Are you
interrupting.
saying you want to talk Noah
Oh,
Hawley over
Mister.
Manny Pacquiao who wants
Listen,
to train Naoya Inoue? What are
check
you?
this
What
out.
is wrong
Listen,
with
I'm
you?
not talking about Naoya anyway. Let me get to my point back on aliens. There's that saying, there's nothing new under the sun. I know that when you make
Fuck
shows,
aliens.
man, shut up, bro. Listen, bro. You keep interrupting. Stop doing that. When you make shows,
Noah
or
Hawley.
man, I'm done. Go talk about.
Anyways, so one of the biggest news of the day for today, unless homie Ricky got his ass hurt so much that he decided to end the stream, is that Manny Pacquiao says he'd like to train Naoya Inoue. Now, when I read this article, I found that to be very fascinating idea that a shoe-in Hall of Famer who's gone up in multiple weight classes, who's become a fan favorite for nearly 3 decades, would want to get involved with a fighter with similar dimensions, who's moving quite similarly to himself. And the one thing that I started to think about is whether Naoya Inoue. The first thing we have to ask is, what does Manny Pacquiao see in the career, or in the future, better yet, of Naoya Inoue, that he figures that he can help advance, or B, find some challenges in that path which would bar him from a similar path of greatness to his own. Um, the other question, of course, is what does he think he can impart as a trainer to a fighter who's already one of the most technical masters in the sport currently. He's obviously a very technical, highly skilled fighter, very aggressive, powerful, great foot movement, good in and out game, good countering, good speed, uh, and he's obviously dedicated, and he's obviously a person that can get the job done. That doesn't seem like a fighter that would need any further training. In fact, I would be hard pressed to look into any flaws that Naoya Inoue has displayed recently in any of his fights. Without a doubt, I guess you can say that there's going to be flaws that you can take if you compare, if you look into his toughest fight to date, which was against 37-year-old Nonito Donaire. But of course, that just comes to show how great Nonito Donaire is. But I just started to think about that proposition uh, of Manny Pacquiao training, which is also very interesting because I don't know of any fighter that Manny Pacquiao has trained. So this would be, in my limited knowledge, his very first fighter that he would be training. It's something that he doesn't do for his own fighters like Pitbull Cruz, Isaac Pitbull Cruz. He's his fighter, and I'm sure they've gotten to spar with one another. But I'm not too sure what I think about that concept of Manny Pacquiao wanting to train a man who's already undisputed, who's been champion in three weight classes, who's likely going to become a two-time undisputed if he fights Tapales in November, and can probably go on to 126 to beat more champions there, perhaps even if we ponder and cross-reference the names, maybe we can even see him winning against four people there to take more belts and become a three-time undisputed fighter. So I don't know what Manny Pacquiao was thinking right there. I'm not too sure if he just wants to help him out and make him a superstar or whatnot. But I just wanted to see what anybody out there thought about that idea that Manny Pacquiao would like to involve himself in what is obviously a very prosperous and successful career of Naoya Inoue. The only thing that I could think that he could do is perhaps introduce him to the American and Western markets, because in Japan he's already a superstar. From what I hear, he was able to secure a 3 point something $1 million purse for his foe, is Stephen Fulton, which would just lead me to believe that his purse was likely much bigger than that. Especially if he's already a fan and he's a fan-friendly fighter in his own country, paying him big money. So I just wanted to talk about that. I'm not too sure if homie Ricky is still upset because we're not gonna talk about Noah Hawley, whoever he is. But if anybody wants to say something, yeah, please feel free to chime in and let me know what you guys think about that. I don't think it's necessary. Unless, of course, he just wants to be like a barker, like somebody that just shows up there in his ring, and like Paul Heyman in WWE, and just let the world know that he supports and sponsors this fighter. In that sense, then I could definitely see Manny Padrigan Pacquiao opening up doors. But I think, with what just transpired in this last fight, that may have just opened up doors and the proper speed, and maybe the kind of pressure that can come from maybe moving like Manny Pacquiao, just because he has similar dimensions, may not behoove him if he doesn't pace himself adequately. But that's what I wanted to say. That was just something that I found quite interesting. But if you want to talk about Noah Hawley, the homie Ricky, that's perfectly fine, even though I imagine you're still butthurt. Yeah, though, so I guess he is still butthurt. Yeah, that's how he tends to get. He's very emotional regarding his his movies. And I apologize, I'm not a movie guy. I haven't watched a movie in many a moon. In fact, I'm getting myself more into literature. And speaking of literature, I just went to the comic book store to pick up the newly released series of Conan the Barbarian, um, for all of those manly men who like violence and marauders and pirates and violent men. This is a violent sport that we mostly talk about here. But I haven't gotten to read it. But if anybody's interested, yeah, I just picked up a Conan the Barbarian #1. Just came out last week. Red Sonja, who's the equivalent of Conan, but she's a Conan, but she has periods because she's a female. But in and of itself, she's a badass who pillages towns and kills bad dudes with a sword. And if you guys are into that, well, just letting you know, comic books just came out last week. They're only $3 a pop, maybe four. I'm not too sure what I paid for them, but I just came back from that and I'm quite excited. Oh, in case you guys didn't know, the homie Ricky, he periodically takes breaks during lives because he is preoccupied. He mops floors.
It's not so easy, huh? You just stop and don't interrupt, bro. Stop interrupting, man. Just let me
Hey,
get to my
I
point.
held up the show. I held up the
I
show.
just barely said one sentence, bro. Just stop interrupting. It gets really frustrating. Now, are you done? Like, just listen, bro. Listen. Now I don't even want to talk about Noah Hawley because I lost my train of thought, everything that I was gonna say. So congratulations on that. I'm gonna go to Teofimo Lopez, bro. Look, I know I'm not trying to shit on Bud Crawford or anything. He's an amazing fighter. He's the best fighter in his time. I rate him over Canelo. I know Canelo's got 6 Hall of Famers on his resume, but what Bud Crawford's been able to do, it's quite shocking. And I love the versatility and the intellect. And every fight that he has looks different. Every Canelo fight more or less plays out to be the same punch sequences, same combinations. It's the same, but not with Bud Crawford. Each fight, there's a completely different approach. The Victor Postol fight was completely different from the Felix Diaz fight. The Errol Spence fight was way different from the Sean Porter fight, and the list goes on and on and on. Even the Kell Brook fight, everything is always different with Bud Crawford. I say all that because Teofimo Lopez is also an amazing fucking fighter. And when we talk about what has happened to the career of Teofimo Lopez, especially at 140, he should be undisputed at 140. He should be undisputed at 140. Okay, got it. He should be undisputed at 140. My bad, guys. Pardon the interruption. But they stripped Josh Taylor, or Josh Taylor vacated those belts. And the likes of Rolly Romero is a champion now. I don't mind Regis being a champion because the fight that he had to get through, which was Jose Chon Cepeda, that was not an easy fight. That was a very entertaining fight, and I'm thankful that Marv Nation put it up and put the money up for it to happen. But the incredible run, and it baffles me that there's guys and champions like Jamal Charlo that can hold on to a belt, or even the likes of Joe Cordina that have to get stripped of the belt after having a shocking knockout performance versus Kenichi, and then Rakhimov to try to retain it back, which he could have lost, but obviously he was durable and he had grit and he toughed it out. But Teofimo deserves to be undisputed, not in one weight class, but in two weight classes. And I know that Larry Liston, in the last live, we were talking about it, but I don't really have an answer to it. But all I know is Teofimo should be undisputed twice as well. Because yes, he is vocal and he voices his displeasure and he goes about burning bridges. If we look back at the Triller situation, he wanted that fight to go to Perspire. And Top Rank and Bob Arum were letting him know that is not a big fight. Do not make that. Dude, just sign what we're offering you. That's the value of the fight. That's the market. Triller ended up having, I don't know, 3 or 4 reschedules, and they eventually paid a fine because they just weren't selling the tickets. They tried to have that fight on a Sunday. I remember at one time it was on a Monday or on a Tuesday, and those things just weren't going to happen. And eventually DAZN and Eddie Hearn bought that fight, and it turned out to be a really good fight, an amazing fight. But Teofimo Lopez had already been stripped, or Lomachenko had been stripped of that WBC belt, and they made them a franchise title. To my knowledge, that franchise title does not exist anymore. I don't know who carries it. If there's a fighter that should be carrying it, is Jermall Charlo. He should be a franchise champion, and Carlos Adames should be the real champ because he's basically fighting all his mandatories. Julian J. Rock Williams, I forgot exactly who the other Mexican fighter was. I don't know if it was Montiel. But tying it all together is Teofimo Lopez is a very great young fighter. I might even, or has done greater things than Devin Haney because Teo's done it first. And Teo has done it an incredible way with no dispute. To be undisputed, you have to win without dispute. Nobody questions to this day his victory over Josh Taylor. Nobody questions his victory over Lomachenko. Conversely, there is dispute versus Devin Haney. So Teofimo Lopez deserves a lot of credit, a shit ton of credit. The motherfucker is not only amazing, he's a great fighter, and he is very entertaining. And he goes for broke, even though he got beat by George Kambosas, right? Everybody says styles make fights. George Kambosas had Teofimo Lopez's number. And if they were to rematch at 140, he still might beat Teofimo Lopez. There are just some fighters that just have your number. If we look back at Ricardo Mayorga, right? He was a guy that would beat Vernon Forrest. Now, mind you, Vernon Forrest was a guy that would beat Shane Mosley. And nobody else could really beat Shane Mosley at that time. And Ricardo Mayorga had this dude's number. Oh, what the fuck did I just type? Whoa.
I think he beat him twice.
Yes, sir. I just got to make sure that I'm not confusing Vernon Forrest and this other guy. Hold on. Give me a sec, guys. Give me a sec. Yeah, no, it's Vernon Forrest.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's correct.
I think I just watched their fight last week. For what I don't know, I just got it tagged, so I just went and watched it.
And Vernon Forrest, we all know what Shane Mosley did to Mayorga. They had a weird ass buildup when I think Shane Mosley's wife bent over in front of Mayorga. Mayorga slapped that booty. They ended up fighting 2 or 3 times. I'm not too sure. It was just a weird situation between Mayorga, but yeah. All that to say is that George Kambosas can probably beat Teofimo all over again for a third if they were to have a rematch. I don't know what it is. I can't explain it to you, but Teofimo fought with a lot of emotion. And in that fight, and what he was going on in his life, whether his wife was getting divorced, that fickleness between him and his father, that relationship, Top Rank turning his back on him, or just there was just a lot of hurt and anger that Tio fought like a wild man. Now, if he were to fight disciplined behind a jab and move very well and just be patient and calm and just be a natural counterpuncher rather than the come forward aggressor, maybe he beats George Kambosas. I don't really know, right? But Teofimo deserves the credit because when it comes down to those title fights against Lomachenko and Josh Taylor, not only are you in your ring and you should be undisputed. Because what is the point of stripping Josh Taylor and giving a belt and putting it on the hands of Rolly Romero? It doesn't make any sense. It does not make any sense. Why would you do that? Why strip Josh, knowing that he's gonna fight Teofimo, and to make Rolly a champion? It doesn't make any fucking sense. Now, if it was Rolly versus Ryan Garcia and the belt was up for grabs, now that makes sense because there's money to be made and it's gonna go into the hotels, the venues. People are getting, the money's gonna circulate. That makes sense. But why Rolly? Why does Rolly get that calling? Why do you rob an old man and give it to Rolly, all to strip Josh Taylor? So what? Teofimo can't be called undisputed or two-time undisputed? This is crazy to me. Anyway, this is the politics of boxing. This is the shenanigans of boxing. This is tomfoolery, all those fancy words, right? But so if I look in today's era, right? Bud Crawford, Canelo. I'm gonna add Teofimo Lopez. You could add Naoya anyway at the third spot. It doesn't really matter. Teofimo Lopez is that dude. He dominates. He dominated Loma. Now you can be like, well, when Loma spotted him 6 rounds, he started to turn it up. He didn't look that dominant. But we cannot dismiss those 6 rounds. It looked like the moment was too big for Loma. Loma had a wrong game plan, and Teofimo stayed disciplined. And he threw jabs, and he threw sixes to the body, and he hit anything that was open without overcommitting. And then there was some sense of urgency for Loma, but it was undisputed. Teo was that dude. And whoever bet money on that fight, against Josh Taylor, Teo's been making you some nice profits. But yeah, I do hope Devin Haney and Teo Court they collide. That 140 weight class, and I hope Jose Ramirez, Chon Cepeda, all these guys, Arnold Barbosa, they all stay at 140. I hope they don't move up to 147 once Bud vacates all those belts. It could be very interesting, but I hope they all stay together and fight at 140 because that could be an amazing division. Just think about it. All those big guys at 135 that could move up to 140, like Shakur, right? Like Jeremiah Ortiz, Jermaine Ortiz, Keyshawn Davis, Teofimo Lopez, maybe George Kambosas, Devin Haney, Arnold Barboza, Jose Ramirez, Regis Prograis, Chon Zepeda, Antoine Russell. That's 10 fucking names off the top. Even Josh Taylor, Jack Catterall, maybe Jorge Linares if he upsets Jack Catterall. That's a fucking lineup. Do a World Boxing Super Series tournament, put the Muhammad Ali trophy, put all those belts on the line. You're talking about war. You're talking about some Thomas Hobbes, Leviathan situation where life is short, brutal, and cruel. I don't know, man. I think they did Teofimo Lopez. The politics that be are fucking up that kid's legacy. Again, I'm not here to try to discredit Bud Crawford. This is not what I'm doing. I'm just saying everybody talks about the plight of certain fighters and, oh, I have this upbringing. But right now, they're out for Teofimo's head. I don't know if he should be a free agent. He should hop from PBC to Top Rank and Eddie Hearn, or should he sign with Golden Boy, or should he be a free agent like Devin Haney and just kind of bounce around just to see and start your own promotional company? But it's really sad. It's really sad. I don't know, man. What you think, Speed? And take it away, bro.
Well, I have nothing bad to say about Teofimo Lopez. I'm a big fan of the kid, big fan. So I agree with everything that you said for the most part. You know, uh, Again, I'm a realist. I don't, you know, I understand the politics are screwing him over. But when he decided to cross the street and fight George Kambosas instead of accepting the top rank money, because they promised him huge dollars. I think it was like 6 million is what the purse went for. Uh, Top rank beat Matchroom, but these guys beat everybody by like 3 million plus. When he decided to take that fight, what he ended up doing is basically no, wait, who was it? Who was he gonna? It was right. Yeah, that's right. It was that now defunct company, whatever it was called, Boxer was it? That couldn't get him a good fight date. So what happened is that he entered into one of his longest uh, periods of inactivity. He had been fighting at a pace of 4 fights a year up until he fought Vasil Lomachenko. And of course, he had been calling for Vasilo Lomachenko from 2 3 years before. He said he was gonna fight that guy. He said he was gonna become a champion. And once he became that guy, I believe he got a bit of a big head. That compounded by the fact that he was going through a lot of issues with his family and whatnot at about the same time. It probably made a clusterfuck of his head, and maybe that's the reason why he fought George Cambosos in that very erratic and restraint and uncoordinated fighting style. Even though he did great, he started to pick up. He did good. He started to pick up afterwards, but it's hard to come back from a knockdown and such a competitive fight and still win it. So he lost that fight. But after Lomachenko, he went a year and a month before he actually got to fight George Cambosa. And then he went back to fighting more frequently. He fought that Pedro Campa, Sandor Martin, 2 fights in a year, and Josh Taylor. Um, a lot of what's going on, I do believe some familial issues are happening, but a lot of it is obviously him allowing those problems to get to him. Because with Teofimo Lopez, we do know that he can be affected by those personal issues. That's why I believe in that long layoff with George Cambosis. But and of course, what he did with Sandor Martin in this confession right there at his corner post fight. All of those things make it seem like he's got issues going on that are affecting his performance. But then those same issues are the ones that hardened him, like fire to metal, made him an incredible, concentrated, and vindictive fighter when he decided to take on Josh Taylor. Um, so I really don't care too much about whether he was robbed of being a 2 times undisputed, because I still am witnessing some of the greatest fights, and I know what happened. I know Josh Taylor never lost the belts. I know that he started to get his belt stripped at 3 months from holding them, then 6 months, and then 9 months being left with only one, just because of the business. I know that, but I also know that he never lost to any of those guys, and I would wager that Josh Taylor would never lose to any of the guys that are going to pick up his belts. I mean, he obviously already beat Regis Prograis in a very close fight. He would destroy Roddy Romero. He would destroy the guy who fought Barroso. He would Ismael Barroso. He would destroy those guys. And for the most part, we all thought he was going to destroy Teofimo Lopez. I thought that they were setting him up with the big guys to end his career, because we know who Josh Taylor is. But lo and behold, Teofimo Lopez is that guy. And I agree, he should be 2 times undisputed. He's a victim. of a lot of his own problems, and of course of the politics. I've never seen anything like that. Um, but we can't do much about it except to give him his flowers while he's alive, support him while we can. And this is why I say things like Undisputed used to be big things, bigger things, because they were so hard to come by. Because nobody really cared about crossing over the street because every person was fighting against each other. If you held one belt at one weight class, you were going to get the first place fighter, second place fighter, third place fighter. You weren't going to be picking and choosing, fighting one top 10 and then going down to fight a fighter ranked in the 40s. You weren't going to be doing that. You were going to fight all of the tough ones. That's why nobody really was complaining. It's until most recently that we see that perhaps the divisions aren't as stacked. It's not that they're not stacked. It's just that not everybody's fighting each other, and the fans have become so fickle that we only care about undefeated fighters. That now only the top ones holding the belts are getting to fight each other because that's where the money's at. But those continue to cruise by, getting all the easy fights, except one guy, Teofimo Lopez and Devin Haney, of course. Those guys never take easy fights. But yeah, it's lamentable, man. What can I say? I mean, we talked about it a couple of days before. It's very unfortunate. I love the kid, but what are we gonna do about it?
Yeah, I agree. Well, we'll see where what his next fight is. Mr. Larry Liston is saying Teofimo is going to fight Jose Ramirez next for his WBO belt. Just like
Wow,
Ward, I'm a big fan of TO2. Wouldn't mind seeing him rematch Campbell at 140 or fight Catterall if he beats Linares. Without further
my
ado,
God.
welcome in Drew, my 6'5" brother, 185 pound, fighting out of the blue corner from Minneapolis, Minnesota. Drew, how you doing, brother? How you been? How's your day? And what did you find to eat over there in the heat of Saudi Arabia? He says he can't talk. I can't say nothing, bro.
You know, it's like, look, it's what I told them, right? You send two links when you first had that.
Yeah, but I know that he's on the proper link because he wouldn't be down below in this private chat. So I'm not
Are you
exactly too
sure?
sure.
Because what happened is you had sent me a link earlier on, and I linked up to that one, and guess what? It brought me to the old.
I know,
Uh,
and I was no longer on the old one.
yeah,
Since you're
yeah.
here, you click the new one. He clicked the new one too. That's why he's in this new link. I'm not too sure why. Um,
I could hear him pressing on the.
no,
I could hear him.
That's me pressing on his mute mic, unmute mic button.
So
It's very
Teofimo
strange.
Lopez
You can't.
is gonna fight Jose Ramirez. Is that already a secured fight, Mr. Liston, or is that maybe what you speculate will happen? Because if that happens, I'm all for it. I'm all for it.
Yeah,
Jose
that's
Ramirez.
a really good fight. That's a very
Yeah.
dangerous fight for Teofimo because Jose Ramirez. I love Jose Ramirez. I lost a lot of money on him, $400 when
That's a lot of money.
yeah, Josh Taylor fucked him up. Had I
That's a
won, I
lot
would
of
have
money.
2,000. Yeah, I had won. I had placed a bet on a soccer match, football,
Yeah.
football, football match, and I put money on Italy to. This was like I don't know, 2009, 2020, and I put money on Italy to beat France, and they beat France, so I won 1,200. I ended up putting. Oh no, actually, scratch that. They went to penalties, and yes, Italy did win, but I actually lost money on that. I'm having Popeyes right now. Nice. I actually put money on Argentina to beat Brazil. Argentina ended up winning. I won $1,200. I put $100 or so for Italy to win. They did beat France, but in penalties. And I guess Bovada is like very. nitpicky, and they're like, no, that was only a 90 minutes of play, extra time or penalty kicks. That's a different side bet. So I ended up losing money on
Wow.
that. I ended up putting $300 on Conor McGregor to beat Dustin Poirier, and Poirier fucked him up. And it was just like I won one big bet, and then I lost two small ones, and then I was like, okay, I'm still up like $600. So I put 400 on Jose Ramirez, and Josh Taylor drops him twice. Heartbreaking. My heart was shattered. I thought Jose was going to be undisputed. I didn't think highly of Josh Taylor. I never really thought highly of Josh Taylor, but I respected the man because of the incredible run, adding up all those undefeated fighters and how he went about his business. It was just very like no promotional backing. He was just doing legendary legacy shit, Hall of Fame shit.
Hmm.
That run was incredible. And yeah, I kind of dislike and hate Josh Taylor because of I could have won $2,000. It's kind of like the same thing with that's football talk. I won't talk about NFL football. But actually, Larry Listen says, correction, since Pedraza has left Top Rank, the only guy to fight for the WBO right now is Jose Ramirez. Unless something unexpected happens, that fight, that's the going through right now, not Pedraza. My bad. Yeah, if that's news to me. If Pedraza left Top Rank, that also means Arnold Barbosa left Top Rank because Arnold is like negotiating with Bob Arum, PBC, and all these other fighters. So Top Rank
I
is
think,
its pull at 140. It's very
yeah, I
interesting.
think Pedraza did leave actually. Yeah, I think his
Wow.
contract ended.
Barbosa Jr. left Top Rank, I mean, according to Rick Merrigan. Yeah, correct. You're
Yeah,
correct.
yeah, 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 yeah.
Hey, Drew, what's going on with your mic, bruh? I'm just hearing excuses. Sounds like you just ducking the smoke. Sounds like you got a lot to say, but you don't want to speak your piece.
He
I don't
said
know.
he's eating something
No, he's
called
eating Popeyes. Yeah. You probably got
Pop
chicken
Ice.
sandwich,
I didn't know they
macaroni.
sold Popeyes in Saudi Arabia, but I do know that there's a soup that has shark eyes, uh, like
Shark
little,
eyes.
yeah, shark eyes. I guess some part of the world they sell like shark eyes or fish eyes or some kind of eyes, and they put them in soup, and it's some kind of a delicacy. Very interesting. I imagine like big boba, like a big boba, instead of like a savory soup, instead of perhaps a sweet beverage. Just like meaty boba. But anyways, yeah. So what do you think about what I said about that notion that Manny Pacquiao would like to not only manage,
Yeah,
but I
you're
think
sorry, Speed. Hold on, give me a second to answer Drew's question. Yes, your camera did work, but I'm not hearing any audio. And I checked the settings here, and on your mic settings, you're on full blast. Echo cancellation is good, so it's with automatically adjust mic volume. And I don't know why I can't hear you, but yeah, to your point, Speed, about the Naoya Pac-Man situation. Um, before I feel a little conflicted about it, not in the
Mhm,
sense that well, let me put it to you like this. Naoya Inoue is on a path for greatness on his
mhm,
own. He doesn't need Pacquiao, but it doesn't hurt
mhm,
to have the help and the backing of Pacquiao, right? Like Tank Davis, he's on a path or could be on a path of greatness, but it doesn't hurt to have Floyd Mayweather overseeing you as well. Same thing with Pacquiao. To get the support of him, it would be huge for your career. Pacquiao has a lot of wisdom and that he can tell Naoya anyway, like if you do decide to move up all these ranks and become an 8-time, 9-time, 10-time divisional champion, kind of like moi, right? Just focus on your speed. The power will naturally come. You have the power. Do not lose the speed. Do not lose the intellect. So I think there's a lot of wisdom that Pacquiao has showed the Japanese culture and Naoya Inoue in the past. For instance, I think there was a short clip. I think I might have seen it on social media or on YouTube where Pacquiao was teaching Naoya Inoue how to throw a proper hook. Now, Naoya obviously knows how to throw a proper hook, but he was telling them, if you hit with your pinky on the bottom of the hook rather than turning your fist, if the guy ducks, you're going to be hitting him with the weak knuckles of your fist. rather than the two dominant ones, the pointer and the middle finger. You're going to be hitting them with the ring and the pinky finger. So he was like, but if you turn your knuckle over the top and the guy ducks down, you can just change the rotation of your elbow and wrist and still clock them really hard with all four knuckles. So there's a lot of wisdom and a lot of yeah, just it just makes it just makes perfect sense for Naoya to have Pacquiao on his side. But again,
Yeah.
he doesn't need him. And the only reason that I say that I'm conflicted is because Pacquiao now is a businessman,
Yep.
right? He has a promotional agency, Manny Pacquiao Promotions. He has Sean Gibbons
Fighters.
overseeing all the and he's got fighters like Pitbull Cruz. Um, I believe Marlon Tapales is a Manny Pacquiao fighter. Marlon Tapales, for those that don't know, is the guy that beat and upsetted MJ Akhmadaliev and took two of his belts. And Marlon Tapales is now going to fight hopefully this year at the end of the year against Naoya Inoue. He was in attendance for the beatdown that he gave Stephen Fulton, and they met up in the ring and they shook hands. So I'm pretty sure, as righteous of both of those guys are, and Manny Pacquiao dealing in great faith, I believe they're
Yeah.
going to get right on next. So it's
Yeah.
very interesting. Inoue, the next Pac-Man. I agree, Drew. I think I'm not even gonna lie. I think if everything goes properly, Inoue might be a little better than Pacquiao. See, Pacquiao had an amazing left hand, but he was learning the right hand. He was learning his jab. He was learning the right hook. Up until when he got to Freddie Roach, he didn't have a right hand. He didn't have a right hook. And Freddie Roach tamed him, educated that, and he became a two-handed fighter. Aside from that, Pacquiao had just when he wore those flaming shorts, yellow and red, all he had was that killer speed and that killer left straight. And it was a dominant left hand. It was like an Adonis Stevenson left hand. That straight could not miss the chin of any fighter. The same one that put Eric Morales down, beat the likes of Barrera, dropped Marquez how many times in those 5-4 fights that they've had. The same one that slept David Diaz, Ricky Hatton, dropped Miguel Cotto. Man, Pacquiao was that dude. So I'm not going to say, but in terms of intellect and already having two great fists, Naoya might be much more disciplined and educated as a two-handed fighter than Pacquiao. Um,
Yeah.
Man, I don't know, Drew. He might be the next Pacquiao. Man, I have no idea, but nothing can ever replace um, the love that I have for Manny Pacquiao. He brought so many great memories in our household alongside watching. Like, man, anytime I think about Pacquiao, I think about all those memories that with my mom and my dad that we went to like our padrino's house and they had a barbecues and man, it just brings great memories. Um, but yeah, I don't know if Inoue can ever replace Pacquiao, but he can definitely be the next one.
Yeah. And here's the thing, though, right? Like, it's
Born and raised in Scotland.
if Inoya moves like Pacquiao and what in the sport, then he can definitely be the next Pacquiao. And what I mean by that is that Manny Pacquiao never fought all the fighters at every single weight class of which he held belts in. He fought one or two, moved up, one or two, moved up, so forth and so on. But if we continue to just expect that Naoya Inoue prove himself at every single weight class, beating every single person because of how fantastical he looks and how grand our illusions are of his potential, then yeah, he may not be that guy because he may expose himself to a lot of wear and tear. And mind you, uh, Inoya Inoue is not a spring chicken. He's 31. So in the way that he's fighting, of course, he and especially at the weight class. See, the thing is about those weight classes, you either got a very short career because you're fighting a lot and you're throwing a lot of punches, receiving a lot of damage, and a lot of people are equally skilled, or you're very dominant, and because the other people may not hit you as much, or maybe you're just made of steel, you're knocking them out quicker. So you're never exposed to harm. You might actually have a longer career, but nonetheless, he's already in his 30s. Um, but I would say if he goes to 126 and beats a champion or two, moves up the next weight class and beats another champion or two, and maybe even the weakest links of all of those divisions, then he can definitely become, you know, 5, 6 weight division champion. Very much, and the style of Emmanuel Dapidran Pacquiao. But it's just that one thing that I do hear a lot of people say about Inoue is that he has to fight this guy or he has to fight that guy, and crazy fight setups. Like he has to climb 3 weight classes to fight Gervonta Davis. Like, look, if you go up like that without a tune-up or an acclimation fight, then you won't be able to become Pacquiao, because you can expose yourself to a lot of things, a lot of unnecessary harm without really preparing for it. But can he be the next Pacquiao? Yeah, if he beats 1 or 2 champions in every weight class going up, absolutely, I could see that.
Yeah, no, I agree. Um, yeah, no, Oya is a really special fighter. I mean, again, I think he wants to always retain all those belts per weight class. So if he once he fights Martin Tapales, see at 122, he just has to beat 2 fighters, and once he beats those 2 fighters, maybe he can fight MJ Akmadalia. But basically, he can move up to 126 after fighting Martin Tapales, and if he's successful against him. But at 126, there's 4 champions. It's not going to be easy or as easy as 122. Not because the quality of competition is better, maybe, but you're going to have 4 fighters. You're going to have 4 fights at least. You got to go WBC, WBO, IBF, because none of those guys at 126 are unified. And to be honest with you, I don't know if they care to unify. I don't know if Robeisy Ramirez is interested in fighting Luis Alberto El Venado Lopez and unifying there. And I'm not too sure if the guy who just beat Bronco, Lee Warrington, no, wait, Lee Wood, fighting Warrington, I'm not too sure if he's interested in unifying with Venado Lopez or Robeisy Ramirez or the WBC champion Brandon Figueroa. I'm not too sure if they're interested in that. Now,
Mhm.
now Oya at 126 is going to have a little harder time. I think he's more polished than all of those 4 fighters. But again, I don't know if he's going to have, in terms of that timeline, dealing with the politics of the sport, cross promotional companies, if he's going to be able to go at 126 and undisputed, or does he care to become undisputed at every single weight class that he moves up? Or is he just comfortable, beating one of the champions at 126, going up to 130, beating one of the champions there, and going up to 135 and beating one of the champions there? Does he want all the belts throughout this domination?
Wow.
It's going to be too tough. And if you're telling me that he's
Wow.
30 and 31, that's a perfect age. But that lets me know between 30 and 34, those are going to be very like his prime years. And he might leave all that hassle in those dominant years at that lower weight classes. So we might not get him at 135. Mind you, Pacquiao started like at 108, 112, 15, 18,
Yeah.
122, 126, 130, 135, 140, 147, even up to as high as maybe
What's it one?
152 when he fought
Yeah.
Margarito. Dude, so I'm not
Jeez.
too sure what's going on, but it says devices not connected. So they will need to be connector, mic, or cam before you can add them to the stream. So not too sure if you're using a different device, but you are now restricted upon that new device that you're signing in on. But yeah, it's going to be very tough to be able to replicate that success. And even though as dominant as Naoya Inoue is, I don't want him to accomplish what Pacquiao did because I just want there to be one only Pacquiao. You see, I want to hold and want that 8 or 9 time divisional champion record to maintain for at least 1,000 years. You know what I'm saying?
I understand what you're saying, but the thing about it is this: the one thing that Manny Pacquiao, uh, what can be said about Manny Pacquiao is that he did all those things because he wanted to. He believed in himself. He is the fighter's fighter. We need to have more people that move like him. Even whether to just excite fans about the possibilities of how brave and daring these fighters can be, but also because guess what? I don't think they're gonna fare with the same success that he will. Naoya knew it looks incredible, spectacular, unstoppable, a destroyer, a conqueror, but that's only in 3 weight classes. We don't know what he'll do in his fourth. We don't know what he'll do in his fifth. He has so much to catch up to Manny Pacquiao that just even allowing him the opportunity to climb up in ranks just to prove himself is more than enough to either give Manny Pacquiao more credit for having achieved it,
Wait, hold on,
or
hold on. Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt. Drew, say something. Fuck. No way, bro. Go for it, Speed. My bad.
what was I saying?
You were just talking about how Pacquiao was dominating, and Naoya Inoue might not have that level of success.
Yeah, exactly. You should just cheer on the fact that he's trying because nothing is secured. His success is not secured. He does not necessarily have to fare well. In fact, if he loses, the more he climbs up in weight, the less stellar he looks, the more incredible Manny Pacquiao will seem as a result. Which, if you're afraid that people will move like Manny Pacquiao because you want there to be only one Manny Pacquiao, uh, I think there was only one Sonny Liston, and I think there was only one Jack Johnson. Uh, who gives a crap? Let them try it. That's the thing we should want. People to test themselves and try to achieve for greatness. Now, here's the thing, though. You can push yourself too much to the point of being uh, an underperformer and lacking competitiveness. Like you know, like Canelo is starting to look like once he goes past 168. But nonetheless, uh, just because somebody wants to move like Manny Pacquiao does not mean they will be Manny Pacquiao. Uh, I would love to see if Naoya Inoue can achieve something semblant of the greatness that Manny Pacquiao, because I don't think it'll necessarily fare well for him. But I'm all for the ride. I'm all for the ride because win or lose, we either get to educate the new generation of boxing fans about how a boxer should fight if they are that great, and two, if he does not fare well, guess what? Manny Pacquiao's legend is even more cemented because a possible two-time undisputed, three former belt holder, a three-division belt holder, wasn't able to do it.
Yeah, no, I understand. Yeah, I mean, he's gonna definitely try to pursue it, but again, he doesn't need to be and pave his own way. It's good to try to emulate and break records, but he can set another precedent. Um, but yeah,
Listen,
I just
I
saw that
know, I know.
Clarissa Shields, the greatest witch of all time, signed a 2-fight deal with MMA promotional company PFL. Sorry to go off topic, guys. Nah, you're good.
Yeah, yeah. So Clarissa Shields, look, I hope, I hope she finds uh her charisma because she's a very
Do we got something?
Oh, I can hear
Yes.
you, bro. I can hear you.
Yes. Oh my God.
What'd you do,
Damn.
bro?
I switched to my phone. Oh my God. I didn't think that was gonna work. Let me set up now. Fuck.
Good day to you, Drew. Good day to you.
Dude, man. So what a day. I had a long day today.
Yeah.
I heard this guy talk about in a way, man, I was like, oh, this is my favorite subject right here, man. I gotta find a way to hop on. Uh, but yeah, man. Where do I
Well,
start? Where do
well,
I start?
okay. So let's go back. Let's give you a contextual background. The
Yeah.
the I rudely interrupted the homie Ricky as he was mopping floors, and he wanted to talk about Noah Hawley, the writer of one of my favorite shows, what I find to be a perfect show called Fargo, uh, based derivative of the Coen brothers movie Fargo. There's a TV show, and I think it's about to start into its fifth season. Nonetheless, the guy is an incredible writer. I interrupted that because I wanted to talk about the what I found to be slightly controversial statements from Manny Pacquiao, where he said he would love to manage and train Naoya Inoue.
So
So there you go.
so so he wants to train. He wants to
Yes.
train him, but I mean, I haven't heard of him promoting any type of fighter. I mean, like managing a fighter. Has he ever done that?
Pitbull Cruz.
He manages him?
Yeah. And that's
Really?
not only him. He has Tapales, if I'm not mistaken, who's
Oh,
the guy
that's
who's
right.
about to. Yeah, he's gonna
See,
he's
that's
gonna have he's gonna have to deal with Naoya anyways.
Yeah, he
yeah,
also has Mark Magsayo.
Yeah,
got it. I
He's
didn't
got
think
all the
I thought
Pinoys.
yeah, I didn't think
yeah. He's gonna have all the Pinoys.
oh, okay. Yeah, no, him trying to help out in a way, I think it's more of a like a clout move on his end. Uh, he just
Oh,
the whole comparison. Uh, he has that mentality. Like he's a nice guy. He wants to create lines or he probably wants to sign him, lure him in. Um, it's a money move. It's a money move probably. But yeah, as far as in a way, him being like something close to Pac, I think he's better than Pac. He's just gonna have a different type of legacy, in my opinion, because I feel like in this day and age, uh, in my opinion, I'm I'm a little younger, so I watched this newer generation of boxing, and I watched the older generation of boxing, and I definitely appreciate it. But I just feel like every single sport is at an all-time high as far as performance. And when Manny was fighting back in his day, he didn't really have to deal with like 135s or like the 135s of this age, like of today. We pretty much have a bunch of Floyds at 135, like not like actual Floyds, but like people who have been inspired by him that want to fight like him and don't want to win like him, when it comes down to it, because Floyd didn't really he switched up his style throughout the years, but because of his messed up knuckle and all, or his messed up fist, so
hmm
he had to fight a certain way. But I just feel like this day and age, there's too many killers at 135, and I see Nonito connect on that. I'm not saying he's horrible, I'm not saying he's Chenny or anything like that, but um, he can take a punch as well. But
hmm
that's the answer to the question. Like every single division I see him take a punch, it's gonna give me better and better answers as to him fighting at 135. Because that once he's at 135, say he clears that out, he's legendary for that, by the way. But if he ever does that, he doesn't have to really worry about anything much until like 147, which is really super unrealistic. Manny moved all the way up to 147. Mind you,
hmm
that's his height as well.
hmm
Uh, so if you look at old clips of Manny, you'll see how skinny he is, how small he is, and then today he's like still pretty jacked. So um, Inoue has a lot of muscle to put on, and it just depends how he carries that weight. Um, but Inoue is just in a way, it's just at another level, man. Like, it just it's exciting to watch him. I'm just really worried for him at 135. I'm pretty sure he'll beat these guys at 120, at 130. It'll be a tough one. Wouldn't be surprised if he loses at 130 though, mind you. There's a perfect combination of speed and size for him at that weight class. After that, 135 is just, I got to see him at 130 first. 126, he's gonna fight. He's trying to collect that next belt, right? What's his name?
Yeah.
For the Philippines.
Yeah,
You guys just said his
Tapales.
name. Yeah,
Marlon.
yeah,
Marlon Tapales.
yeah. That's a Mexican name, huh? But anyways,
Marlon
uh,
Tapales, yeah.
yeah, it's funny.
Not a
But
Mexican.
yeah, man, it's that he's gonna run through him, bro. He's gonna run through him,
Well,
collect
I
the
hope
belt.
not. I hope not.
Dude, just
I hope it's a
absolutely
tough
no.
fight.
Yeah, I hope. Yeah, I hope it's a tough fight, but you don't expect a tough fight on this one. I expect a tough fight against Robeson. I expected. I expect a tough fight. Who's that? I mean, really, it's just
Venado.
Robeson. It's just Robeson that really I'm worried about at 126. I feel like I'm missing someone though at 126.
Venado. It's a
Oh yeah,
tough one.
yeah, because he's actually well put together. He's pretty solid. Uh, yeah, he's got pop too, so he could take a punch. Yeah, he's a problem.
But the other thing though, Drew, the other thing though that you have to factor in before we start proposing fights at 135 is that even if he was to go and lose one at, let's say, 126, 130, and eventually lose or win at 135 or whatever, uh, uh, Emmanuel Pacquiao, he's lost before. He's lost at those weight classes.
Mhm.
He lost to Marcus.
Mhm.
So the thing is, it's not
Late
the
in his
fact
career
that you,
though.
yeah, but well, not really. Late was what he did with Ugas, but I think when did he fight Marcus last? Like almost a decade ago.
No, the last one.
Yeah.
That was 20. I want to say 2016.
What? What do you mean? What? Are you sure?
Wait, what the hell you guys talking about, man? What you guys saying?
When did Manny Pacquiao lose his last fight to Marcus?
Hey, oh man, it's been a long time.
Right? I thought it closer to a decade. He's saying like in 2016. Well, which is 8 years ago, 7 years ago. So
Yeah,
not that far off.
that's close to a decade ago. Yeah, yeah, it's been a really long time.
Okay. Yeah. So what I'm trying to say, we are afraid that somehow he will lose at 135, maybe 130, maybe even 126. Naoya knew it, but what I'm trying to also say is that Manny Pacquiao lost. So it doesn't just because
Wait,
Naoya
no,
knew it could
no.
lose.
Manny Pacquiao got knocked out by Marquez in 2012.
You said a decade ago, actually more.
It's been 11 years ago, bro. You said 2016.
I
2016.
I thought it was 2013.
Yeah, he got knocked out by Marquez 11 years ago.
Yeah.
Wow.
So the thing is, look, if we try to imagine that Manny Pacquiao had the perfect career, no, he didn't, because he has 6 losses. But the reason that people can forgive that is because he continued to take on to his very tough fights and always entertained, and he made up for them by picking himself up from the ground and going on to fight again and become champion. I could see Naoya doing that exactly. I could see him losing a fight at 130, and I could see him still coming back and winning a belt there and going on to 135 and just losing. But nonetheless, I could see him moving up different weight classes. And the concept that Manny Pacquiao would introduce, which the only thing I really disagreed with was the training part, because I believe Naoya Inoue is being trained not only adequately but exceptionally well, I would say that Manny Pacquiao could become the his Barker, like Paul Heyman does used to do for Brock Lesnar, and I think now he does for Roman Reigns at WWE. He could be that guy where he is the face and he represents him and introduces him to the Western markets, the UK and all of those places of the world, and the Americas, the United States of America in particular. I could see him being that guy, where people will start paying attention to the little guy because guess who's on his corner? Manny Pacquiao, and I actually think he can impart some knowledge. Like homie Ricky just gave me an example of how he can turn his punches once he's throwing a hook, so that he can hit his opponent, irrespective of the fact that his opponent might actually try and parry out of the way. But he can also impart knowledge like, look, this is what I used to do to go up to weight to from this weight class to this weight class. And we just have to ask whether Manny Pacquiao is coming from a place of goodness or a place of jealousy. Does he want somebody to move like him and achieve like him?
Yeah,
And I
yeah.
don't
No,
think
I just
anything
think
bad about Manny Pacquiao. He's a god, bro. He's the best man in the world.
yeah, I don't think that's a good idea. Like for Pac, I mean, he's promote like you guys just said. He's managing a couple of other fighters in the same division. I think he
Hmm.
needs to wait. I think he needs to wait to do all for that, and wait until he actually turns into something. You know, I mean, right now he's just barely like blossoming right now. So he needs, I think, in Manny Pacquiao's favor, he needs to wait until he actually beats his guys that he's managing. That way,
Yeah,
it just doesn't rub off on them too, differently. Because he's doing business with them. So uh, he needs to actually, in my opinion, he needs to wait on that. And as far as training him, man, he's a different type of fighter. I don't think he should switch his style up like any in any way. Maybe like his cardio, pick up that cardio. Maybe like that physical training that he does. Maybe we could pick up on that. But his technique and all that, I think leave it as is. He's fucking so fucking fast. The way he travels in space, like this dude travels like 4 feet, bro. Like he's going to the body, and he just travels like 4 fucking feet. He's gliding in midair, and it's like I had to watch this fight like twice. Isho, I'm sorry. Ricardo had to watch it like what 3 times. So I'm like, man, I gotta like rewatch that shit 10 times because man, uh, it's amazing, bro. Like watch, it's the little things that he does. As a boxing fan, uh, it's amazing to see another human being uh, perform at such a high level. Like it lets you know how amazing humans can be. Like that dude, he's really that dude, bro. He's fucking so fucking fast. Yeah, I can't even put into words sometimes, bro. Like he makes people look mediocre, just like Fulton. Um, that's just one example. I think throughout, as he moves up in weight classes, he'll actually prove himself to be, a threat. But Fulton was that guy at 122. So I see him doing the same thing at 126. I need to see it at 130, but he'll do it at next
What was
fight
the
against
shocking part
Zapales.
though, Drew, is I watched that fight like 3-4 times, not because I couldn't believe it, but it was because something amazing was happening, bro.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not gonna say anything or speculate or say anything controversial, but Naoya Inoue wasn't this dominant at the lower weight classes. Like when he fought the Maloney brothers, when he fought Nonito Donaire, when he fought Paul Buller, he didn't look like what I saw against Stephen Fulton. And it could just be that he didn't have to cut the additional 4 pounds. He didn't have to weigh in at 117. The added weights made him stronger, made him faster. So, for instance, let me go to a little side point. Devin Haney, once he moves up to 140 and fights Rigas pro grade, he might just knock out and embarrass Rigas pro grade because he wouldn't have to be cutting down. I mean, that extra 5 pounds. Devin might just look amazing against Rigas, and you're gonna be like, wow.
Yeah. No, I
So
see. Go
imagine
ahead.
if Devin would have stayed, would not like would be at welterweight at 147, not losing that added weight, cutting all that water weight, no longer having to count calories just to be like, okay, I'm on my cycles, I'm doing everything properly, bro. You're gonna feel strong as fuck. Like right now, you probably think, man, I can hit 2 plates, I can squat 400 pounds, I can bear crawl from right here 100 yards on the end zone because you don't have to worry about the weight. Same thing with Naoya anyway. He looked super fast. He looked really athletic. He looked really strong. Bro, some of the things, and especially still images, I couldn't believe how low of that jabbing stab that he was doing with full extension, not only of his hands, but his feet. And he was able to pull back even faster to get back on defense.
Hmm.
Bro, I saw this weird ass combination where he threw a stabbing jab to the stomach. Fulton threw a right hand over the top, which you're supposed to do. And then Naoya threw a left hook in between that whole like sequence of events.
Hmm. And
So
And
I
it,
look,
remember I
and
remember
I
when
couldn't believe it because I'm like, bro, Stephen Fulton is a fast dude. He's
yeah.
pretty fucking. I wouldn't say he's gonna
Hmm.
be he's strong, but I'm gonna be like, he's very fast. He made Danny Roman. He made Brandon Figueroa. Like his speed was up to par, but Naoya
Hmm.
was something much. So what
Hmm.
I needed to watch it 3 or 4 times because something magical was happening that night, and a star was born, bro. Even
But
the
it
yeah, I'll just make it short. This is what I chalk it up to. One, Naoya Inouye's speed. Uh, went up in weight with him. So he didn't lose any speed. But yet we know those little guys are very quick just because of the fact that they're so light on their feet and their bodies are very light. So they can throw a lot of punches and they can throw a lot of punches fast. So Stephen Fulton, he was bigger than Naoya Inoue. So because of his weight, his mass, he's slower. So Naoya Inoue had the power that transcended and went up and weight with him adequately. So he didn't lose any speed. That's why he looked way faster than Fulton. Secondly, Fulton was going to go up to 126. So maybe he was already outgrowing the division. And he was probably noticing how hard fought Angelo Leo and was, even though he really wasn't, but still, Angelo Leo and Figueroa uh, made him look out. So he's like, let me go to 126. So he had to deal with that. Secondly, we had a fresh Naoya Inoue who didn't really have to exert himself much to fight Paul Butler. And the fact of the matter is, if you were to put uh, Donaire and Fulton and let's say at a fight of 122, 118, I got Donaire all day,
no.
especially a guy that was there 3 or 4 years ago, because he's just a way better fighter than Fulton. Um, but yeah, I believe that uh, you were just startled, perhaps shocked by the masterclass that Naoya Inoue put on. But I just think it's like you said,
he needed
he's a light.
he needed he
Yeah,
needed to fight he needed to fight Fulton to prove to us that he was the shit. Like there was no one else better than Fulton at that division, and he beat the man at that division. He doesn't need to worry about nobody else. So that's why he's better off his better off moving up. But his plan was always tank. Like his manager said it, but I think I heard something about his pops saying something about that was that was the plan. That's the plan. Is Tank. You know,
Whoa,
we
whoa,
want
whoa, whoa, whoa. Who?
his manager and his dad said that.
Of Naoya?
Yeah, they said that's the plan.
Well, I heard in a few years that
Yeah,
they would love to see him.
yeah, because he's not hitting that way in a long time. But
Yeah,
the stars got to align. You know,
yeah,
so they a lot of things got to work out for them to make that fight happen. But yeah, best believe Tank is gonna be scared. You know, a lot of dudes actually ducked this guy in the teens when he was moving up in like what 112, like Bam Bam Rodriguez. Now I see why he ducked him. I really wanted that fight to find out who Inoue was, but he ducked him, and I was like, man, I I wonder why, you know. And he ends up moving all the way up here, and I'm like, okay, this is gonna be tough for Inoue because Fulton's at another level, man. He's just he beat Figueroa, Brandon Figueroa, which was a really close fight, and it looked like he was about to put him away. Fulton somehow pulled it off. I was really shocked, uh, and I was impressed, and that's what made me actually a believer in Fulton initially. And he's still good a fighter.
yeah.
He just happens to be fighting a future Hall of Famer, in my opinion. Uh, but anyways, just that dude, bro. My favorite fighter, along with Boots. Those two guys are just the X's and O's, like the prime example of X's and O's right there. Are those two guys right there? I wouldn't say Terrence because he still gets hit and all that. But these guys are impeccable, bro. It's fucking beautiful to watch.
Yo,
Yeah.
just
Not.
switching up the topic on you guys really quick.
Yeah.
You guys ready for football season?
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
Right around that corner, bruh. Right
I'm
around
in
that
Vegas.
corner.
I'm in Vegas right now, and there's a bunch of people coming over for the Niner Raider game out here.
You lucky.
Are you gonna be able to go to it? Are you gonna still be out there? Or are you back like on?
I'll be back Friday. No, I'm be back here.
Oh, okay, fun, bro. You might just want to stay out there though, bro.
Oh no, I'm a go out sometime. You know.
Have you checked out? I don't know. Like I've been seeing these ads where there's like this globe, like this floating sphere. I don't know if it's a stadium or some lights, but have you
I
seen
got
it?
I can. No, I can't actually. It's been blocked by like a building right here, so I can't really. I don't have a really good view. I have the view of the strip, but I think it's getting blocked by something, so I can't. I don't have a great view of it. I'm not on the strip. I'm not on the strip. I'm like 10 minutes away from the strip, but the way Vegas is, it's really vast. So you can.
Got you.
You just
So
gotta get on
is it already in construction or it's already built?
Oh, it's already built. It's all done.
Oh, okay, for sure.
Yeah, it's all done. They're actually gonna do like some concerts and all that over there. So, yeah, man, it looks pretty exciting right there.
As far as to answer, as far as answering your question on my end, the homie Ricky, I'm not ready for football.
Dude, how
Well,
dare you?
well, you gotta understand. I was a big 49er fan, but when I went to school and I started to work overtime with these uh, crazy old uh, high remuneration contracts that I had, I did not have no time for sports overall, except for boxing. So for many years, I just didn't watch any football. And then when the Niners started getting hot, is when I started able to watch a little bit of football. And then, even though I'd been a Niner fan all my life, it looked like I was a bandwagon fan because I was all of a sudden, watching the sport again. But it wasn't that. It was just that the the market that demanded my services started to slow down. So I had time for that. But no, as far as that, I don't have much appetite for the sport. At least I don't want to sit on my ass all day on a Sunday watching men beat up on each other for a ball when I have so much other work to do. I'm building a couple of lowriders. I'm working on that 1970 as You guys already saw I was welding the trunk pants on that, and I have to cut off the roof and patch it all up. I
Listen,
have all
listen,
kinds of work.
listen. That's all fine and dandy, bro. That's gorgeous. I'm glad
I'm
for
just
all
showing
that.
off about what I can do that
Oh,
you can't.
how dare you not be excited about football, bro? That's
Hey,
disgusting. Well, I'm not
I got.
excited about football. Fucking. Oh, there's better
I'm
things.
just I'm just I'm just showing off that I can do stuff that you can't.
Wow, man. So, but listen. The reason I bring that up is because I am excited about football. Okay,
Hmm.
as a Niner fan, there's a lot of work to be done, right? And I'm excited about every little aspect of it, is because the last couple of years I have a bad taste in my mouth, right? When it
It's
comes,
called mercury.
no,
It's
it's
probably
not
part of your
mercury,
tooth
it's
fillings.
not the Atlantic or Pacific tilapia and fish. It's none of that. It's the Niners got to win a chip in my lifetime, bro. They have not won a Super Bowl in my lifetime. We've been close. Whether it's the Jim Harbaugh era, Frank Gore, Alex Smith situation, Colin Kaepernick, we talk about right now is a great team. And I like to bet. And maybe I got a sick taste that I could have won 5 grand like 3 years ago. But it's like, man, I need it, bro. I need football. I need it back. I've been itching for it all year, and it's even this year, right in January when the Niners got beat by the Eagles. Having Brock Purdy get hurt, and then the way we got our ass beat, it's just I'm salty, bro.
I'll
I'm
die
salty.
for some football right now. No, I'm
It's
kidding.
terrible. It felt very weird. Like it felt like you're getting your ass beat, right?
I need that. I
And
need that.
you're getting your ass beat, and there's nothing you can do about it because your arm is broken. It's like I remember one of my best friends got into a fight in middle school, and I don't know why he was talking shit to some dude, but he had a broken collarbone, and I saw my friend get beat up by that during PE class, and I was like, bro, why are you picking on a fight with a broken collarbone? I can only imagine what was going through his head when that guy pulled up his shirt, and blocked his face, and he was just swinging in the air. That's how I felt when the Niners lost Brock Purdy. You understand what I'm saying? So that's how I felt for a whole year.
Oh my God!
Yeah, I remember that.
I imagine that was an incredible image I got there. Some guy with his shirt wrapped over his head and swinging his arms like a dummy with a broken clavicle. Oh man! Sorry
Hey,
about your
but
buddy though.
hold on. If that was in a way, he would have fucked him up.
So,
For reals.
y'all dirty. So, listen. You can be like, hey, where were you at though? Ricky, you were supposed to help out your friend. It was on a Friday, and I was running a mile, and I couldn't just stop running the mile to help my friend that was in the blacktop right there by all the basketball courts. And this is happening. And then when I get done running, I'm exhausted. I just see my friend, and these dudes separated, and he's all bloody, and he's like, "Yeah, dude." I was like, "Bro, that's what was happening," and it was heartbreaking.
But let me ask you, were they jumping him or was it a mano a mano?
It was a one-on-one, but I don't
Oh,
know.
then you can't get involved. You can't get involved. That's it.
You could get involved because your homie has like a fucking singlet
But
protecting.
didn't you say he started it?
Or his what do you call that? The collarbone, and he's swinging, and then this fucking scumbag uses his shirt, puts it over his head. He's ducking, swinging these invisible punches, and he's getting fucked up.
But didn't you say that your buddy started it?
I think I don't know if he started it, but he was like tussling and talking shit back and forth. And I'm
Well, there you go. There you go.
Why you doing that right now? You should be just like,
There you go.
like Virgil Hunter said, it takes skill to get old, bro. You're being pompous right now. You have a lot of gain. You're gonna get fucked up.
Okay. Well, yeah.
Yeah,
All right.
that told me that from elementary all the way to middle school, high school, even to adult life. Right now, I don't want to mention no names, but yeah, that's a brother right there, brother in arms. But yeah.
Yeah, well, you know what, guys? Not to beat a dead horse, but I think I just decided that Manny Pacquiao has got to involve himself in the career of Naoya Inoue, and it will work out. It will work out as I imagine it will. There you go. That's it. Oh,
Yeah,
It
no,
will.
guys, I just wanted to talk to you about something else. Do you, besides football, of course? Oh, actually, you know what? I want to hear some football talk. Tell me what's going on.
well, nothing. It's gonna be preseason.
Uh-huh.
Pretty much this whole weekend. I think Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Niners play the Raiders on Sunday, which is just a preseason game. Doesn't really matter,
Mhm.
but you're gonna get, you're getting a little taste of what's to come. I think the Niners, Cowboys, Eagles, and maybe the New Orleans Saints will be representing the national side. And then on the American side, of course, you'll have like the Bills, Cincinnati Bengals, Patrick Mahomes, and the Chiefs. Maybe the Raiders or the Chargers. Maybe the Broncos. That AFC West division is very nasty and stacked. But the reason I bring it up is because the Niners have this badass running back named Christian McCaffrey. Bro, I was looking at the odds. If you drop like $50, I think he's gonna pull up. He's gonna win MVP as a running back because he also plays like a slot wide receiver and he just gets the touches. And the Niners running back, their second stringer name Elijah Mitchell got hurt.
He just got injured.
Yup, he got injured. That means they're gonna rely more on this running back and Debo. Anyway, I just think $50 wins you like fucking $4,000 for MVP or offensive player of the year, and it'll be Christian McCaffrey. If
Or
like any injury on the running back because the Niners style of play takes a toll on those running backs. So
you
but yeah,
said
I feel like the
or
Niners might be this year. To Drew's point, we also stole a player from Philadelphia, defensive tackle Hardgrave,
Mhm.
and I mean that's just a lot of juice on the defensive line, and you need big, fast, nasty, explosive dudes on the defensive line because you need to sack Patrick Mahomes. You need to sack these badass quarterbacks, especially now this, powdered puff donut football league where you can't even, scratch him or his knee gets, you know what I mean? Like they protect the QBs, so you need them athletic beasts right there to sack them, and yeah, it's gonna be man. I'm excited. Shit, boy. With
Yeah,
the
man, we're
fucking
gonna we're gonna do some. We're gonna make some noise this year. You
yes,
know,
sir. You already know the vibes, bro.
playoffs is not even a question. That's how far we get in the playoffs now.
Yes, sir.
You know,
Hey, question for you, man. I don't know if this is a little personal, trying to all fun and jokes, but did you renew your the tickets?
oh yeah, I still have them. I don't have
Oh, okay, for
to.
sure. Yeah. I
I'm
don't want
stuck
to
with
try
that.
saying anything, but yeah.
I'm stuck with that.
I
But yeah,
got I got a question for you,
The
bro.
tickets to the ABN convention there in Las Vegas.
no. They're only home games. The what
You didn't
convention?
even get it. The ABN convention.
Oh, the alien convention,
Nope. AVN. AVN.
dude. I don't know what the hell that is.
Yeah, it's better not to, man.
I never
I don't
even
know what
heard of
you're
that.
talking
We're talking
bro.
about season ticket holders for football.
Oh, yeah, man. Yeah, no, those are just home games. But yeah, man. What was I saying? We're still talking football. I was about to switch the subject back to boxing.
Nah, go for it, bro. I got a question. Maybe it's on my end, but you guys sound very low.
Yeah, it's because I'm
Speed
on my
sounds
phone.
hella loud, especially that fucking gargoyle laugh, but I can barely hear you, Drew. I can hear you, but I'm like, God damn.
How about now?
Perfect.
Okay. So I was watching this video that Top Rank just released, and they actually did you guys watch the top 8 greatest Mexican fights of all time? Did you guys
No.
Oh
watch that?
no! What?
No. Yeah, they have a top 8. I got it down right here. I can read it out right now.
Yeah, read it out for me, please.
Okay. So I got so they got at number 8, Eric Morales versus Daniel Zaragoza. Okay. That fight was number 8. I still need to watch that shit. Daniel Zaragoza looked like a really old man in that fight. And then Eric Morales looked like a really young dude. So it looked like a slugfest from what I seen that. But yeah, that was at number 8. And then number 7, you got Juan Luis Castillo versus Lascano. Have you guys heard about that fight?
No.
That was a great fight as well. No, it was a back and forth fight. Las
No,
Ganas.
well, I've seen so many fights, and especially of those guys, Drew. But I don't remember the. It's hard to remember the losers, which will bring me up to the next matter. But keep going.
Yeah. Okay. So at number 6 now, you got Miguel Purcell versus Miguel Roman. That was at number
Yeah,
6. That was a great fight. Ended in
yeah,
KO by Miguel
yeah.
Purcell. And
That
then
shit.
at number 5, you got uh Antonio Barrera versus Eric Morales, the third one. That's the fifth top. That's the fifth one that they have ranked. That was the second round KO right there. Great fight. I love that fight. And it was just I already watched it. That shit was short as hell. But yeah, love that fight. At number 4, they got Edgar Sosa, and a guy by the name of Ulises Solis.
Solis, yeah, I know that.
Yeah. So that fight ended a unanimous, but those guys went back and forth, man. That was a great fight right there. I watched the first 6 rounds and I was pretty impressed. Yeah, and then this is what's crazy. The top three, the next 3 fights that they have.
Or all Manny Pacquiao.
No, they're talking about Mexican on Mexican.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah. So they the top 3 include a fight from Oscar Valdez and a fight from Emmanuel Navarrete.
Oh,
This is why I'm excited, bro, because they have produced some of the best Mexican on Mexican fights of all time.
yeah,
And I'm hoping and praying
absolutely.
I'm hoping and praying, they come out safe in this fight. But just their mentalities, man. I'm like, wow, I can already imagine how great of a fight it is. But anyways,
So it
number
was
3.
Mexican on Mexican, like full bred, right? Because I didn't see no Mexican American.
Yeah, no. It's Mexican on Mexican.
Yeah, because I was about to say there was Marquez versus Rocky Juarez. There
Rocky
was
Juarez,
Diaz versus Marquez, which was fucking
Baby
amazing.
Bull Diaz. Yep.
Oscar De La Hoya as well with like Chavez Sr. and they didn't have any of those. So I was just like, bro, Burchell versus Oscar Valdez was not that great of a fight. It was, it was good because it was fucking dominated by one dude. But
Yeah.
it ain't better than fucking Baby Boy Diaz versus Marquez. That shit was fucking nasty.
No way. And then and then you also have to factor in a lot of those fights with Johnny Tapia. There were so many good fighters.
Yeah. So that I'm just saying what Top Rank has ranked, right? So number 3, they have Emmanuel Navarrete versus Joet Gonzalez.
Joet,
That's a good ass fight.
great fight.
Good fight.
Great fight. That was their number 3 all-time Mexican on Mexican fight. And then number 2, they got the one that you just said, Miguel Purcell versus Oscar Valdez, round 10 KO. That shit was really good, bro. It's just you got to give Oscar the credit, bro. Like he landed that perfect fucking what was it, like a
step back uppercut?
Yeah.
Nah, it was a left hook.
Oh, something like that.
Yeah, it was like a over, like he kind of like lunged forward, like he kind of did a swim move on Miguel, and Miguel was just chasing him, and then boom, got caught, man. Beautiful fucking shot. Then number 1, can you guys guess?
No, I've seen too many. Oh no.
So this fight,
wait. You said it was Navarrete though.
No. That was number 3.
Huh.
Navarrete versus
Whoa. This is a good question, Ricky. This is a good question. Can we guess what the top number 1 top ranked promoted Mexican versus Mexican fight of all history according to their presenters was?
It's gonna be Eric Morales versus Barrera, bro.
You cheated, man. You looked at the video.
No, bro.
You looked at the video. You went back.
I just told my parents.
You're
last night.
quick.
I was supposed to show it to this morning, but we were mounting the engine on the El Camino. But long story short, look. What did I say? Oh, going back to what you were saying. Yesterday, I was doing some research on these fights, right? Oscar Valdez and watching the Top Rank, all access type of situation with Navarrete narrated by those 2 actors. Long story short, they had all the trilogy that you can watch all in one video of Barrera Morales 1, 2, and 3. and I've never
Yeah.
seen any fight what I saw in the first one. It was as if Tommy the Hitman Hearns versus Marvin Hagler, right? How they got it on for 3 fucking rounds with that
Mhm.
level of intensity, animosity, and beautiful fighting. That's how Barrera and Morales was, but for
Mhm.
longer than 3 rounds. It was fucking gnarly. I was like,
Yeah.
they don't
This is
make it
how
like this no more.
I first found out about this fight. I was a super casual, bro. Like this is when I first stepped into Rock Boxing Gym, and I looked up and I seen that banner that they have up, and
Yeah,
I always wondered, what, like, who is that, you know? And they had the actual fight poster, bro. Is dope. You don't, I haven't seen those, like
and
a
they're
new one.
signed, bro.
Yeah, yeah. That's, oh yeah. Coach has them signed.
He
That's
has
a cool
Coach
part.
Danny has him signed, bro. That if you watch that fight, there is no better fight. I mean, I can't say that, but it's up there, like in the top 10. Like if there was a film Criterion collection, right, of boxing, Barrera versus Morales one is up there. This is like legend, bro. This is amazing. You're in awe of. It's not sloppy. It's just mean, good. And you like, mind you, for those that don't remember about Marco Antonio Barrera, he's the guy that made Prince Nassim look funny. He would
Oh
just
yeah,
that's
yeah.
who Guerrero is. Just a little recap. I don't want to spoil anything, but
Mhm. Well, I mean, they can look it
amazing.
up.
And if you go look at that fight, not just with beautiful counter boxing, counter punching, beautiful jabs, go look at how mean Barrero was. He like stiff armed him from one corner to the next, and like he was like Marcos Maidana, that mean
Mhm.
and gritty, but with refined technique
Mhm.
and attitude. Barrero is a bad motherfucker, bro. Like,
But am I skipping? So, am I tripping?
mean it like literal. It's just how I speak and stuff. But that dude is mean, bro.
Am I mistaken though? Uh, Israel Vasquez
And
and
Rafa,
Rafael Marquez.
they
Those are
were.
two Mexicans.
It wasn't even nominated in top rank. So I'm curious if it's top rank. Like, oh, these are the fights that top rank promoted of Mexico.
Yeah, that's what
Mexico.
I'm starting to think. I
Because
think
Israel Vasquez and Rafa Marquez, which is Juan Manuel Marquez's younger
what
brother,
was
they
what was
fought
that fight on?
16 times.
What was that fight on?
I don't know. Probably Showtime or something. I don't know.
Showtime,
Yeah,
HBO. You
but
think?
the
Really?
fight Israel Vasquez and Rafa Marquez didn't really amount to like. Uh, now I'm not gonna say amazing things because all their fights are amazing, but they fought each other 5 or 6 times, and one of their fight, Israel Vasquez, he's blind because of it. He lost vision because of it. Those
Because of
fights
the
are
fight?
brutal. I don't know if it's the first fight, the second, or the third, because after a while they looked shot. The punch resistance wasn't the same, and their
Yeah,
tolerance of punishment wasn't the same as well. But the first 2, 3 fights are amazing. And honestly,
yeah,
it's kind of sad. It's like Arturo Gotti versus Mickey Ward all over again. And these guys are getting paid pennies on the dollar. And that's what makes it even sadder because, like, when inflation comes and all these money and, all the head trauma and shit like that, the TBIs, the CTEs, and all these little
Hmm.
things that happen on that brain from these concussions and just
They got
punches in the face, that
all the
money no
medic,
longer holds up. So then
all
you
the medical
expect like
expenses.
unions to happen. But again, the sport of boxing is beautiful, but it's fucking a brutal business. It's mean, bro. Mean.
And you got to consider all the medical expenses that these fighters have to go through,
Yeah.
uh, and that's gonna cost them fucking any type of visit to the hospital, man. Is gonna cost you. That's the sad reality for these fighters.
this
You
is
know,
why we should. If a fighter's gonna put on a fight and they want to get pay-per-view money and you want to watch it, you should factor that in. You should consider that this is one of the toughest sports that you can partake in, and
hmm
they will end up being shot fighters one day. The smart ones retire, but they won't never provide us those kind of incredible fan friendly replayable fights. Some of
hmm
the ones that still have neurons working for them uh, don't put up that kind of violence so that we can feel satiated from her bloodlust. So this is why I never stream. I never illegally stream. If I don't find value, I don't pay for it. I don't watch it though. But I have too much of a personal involvement in this sport, uh, that I respect these fighters so much that I would never do that. And in fact, I also think of that because I am a believer in karma. So I feel that if I do right by these fighters, if I can, one day somebody might do right by my own children if they ever get to that level. That's the only reason why. But this is again, gentlemen, a violent sport. um, God bless these guys for sacrificing their brains and their bodies, but they
And
know what they got themselves into.
and then not only that, but like the training, you lose yourself when you lose this weight. You're losing like so much, like so much like integrity. Like I don't know, like you're like every time you try to lose weight, like you're losing so much of yourself. You know, like it takes so much out of you emotionally, and then you got to fight. You know, I know like they rehydrate and all this, but man, it takes at least 3 to 4 days to like get back to your old self when you're eating normally again. Like your vitals are barely going back to normal a few days after the fight.
No,
So it's really
honestly, I
dangerous,
think it takes much more than that. I think it takes
right?
like at least a little bit. It has to be close to 2 weeks to a month because talking about
Yeah,
all these like concussive blows to the brain and stuff. I
I'm
remember
talking
like
about
in
the minimum.
2015, I read this article of this badass football player. Since we're in the topic of like football and pain and all this shit, his name was Mike Webster. You guys can research him. And this dude was a center. For those that don't know football or American football, the center is basically he starts off the ball, the quarterback says hi, and he gives it to him. He hands it off. Anyway, this guy was the best center in the league. He won 4 Super Bowl rings with the Pittsburgh Steelers. We're talking about 70s, 80s when Terry Bradshaw was a QB. Anyway, they called Mike Webster Iron Mike. He started essentially going crazy because of all the concussions and blows to the head, right? All the tackling and just bang on bang action with the helmets. He would tase himself to sleep. Like he was homeless, obviously. Eventually, he became homeless. He was sleeping under the bridges, the Amtrak tracks, and stuff like that. And he would tase himself to sleep. His teeth would fall apart. I remember this like vividly because the article at the Atlantic paints the picture perfectly. He would put using super glue his teeth back in place. Anyway, the reason I bring up this detail is because he died at the age of 50. And Warp said, okay, these people know what they get themselves into. Yes and no. These fighters, whether it's circumstance or that's what they grew up to do, all they know is fighting. But they know that the sport is hard. Anybody can tell you, but they don't really know. They don't really know what they're signing up for. Sure, at your 20s and your 30s, you're a bad motherfucker. You feel like you're infallible. You can't be touched. Like you feel like you're that dude. But when you get to 45 and 50 and 60, start start feeling, a little punch drunk. You start slurring your speeches, right? You start developing this dementia. And
Mhm.
anyway, I don't even know where I'm going with it, but yeah, that's really sad.
But they,
Um,
I feel like it's
check
always
him out, Mike
it's
Webster, Iron Mike.
yeah. I think it's always all about the mileage you have on you. Some people don't stay as active, but I think you need to stay active to keep the wheels greased or oiled up in a sense. I think uh having like a good solid career is good for your health as far as how good you fought in those fights. Depends how good you are as far as defense. That definitely takes you a long way because there's dudes that have really good defense and have twice the amount of fights as some of the greats, and they just know how to take care of themselves. Um, but honestly, people like Sergio Martinez, he started at such a late age, but that man wasn't even into like drinking as much, you know. So I feel like at a late age, it's all about how well you take care of yourself, and that's
Yeah.
kind of gonna take you further in life, you know. Kind of like B Hop, you know.
Do you
B Hop.
remember when we went to that Ruben Villa fight up in Sacramento? Remember
Hmm.
there was that lefty versus that black kid, and I guess I don't know if he was Mexican or white kid, but he was over there. He came from like Wisconsin. Do you remember who I'm talking about? And he got all swollen on his face. And what did we see him do?
Oh
He
yeah,
was drinking, bro.
like he went inside, changed,
Grabbed the tall
lit-
can and started drinking with the fans and just like watching the
literally
show.
chopping it up with a fan.
Yeah, you
Like,
remember
and
that?
yeah, and he had a backpack on. Man, what's his name?
Yes,
He fought.
sir. I forgot what his name was,
He
but
fought O'Shea something. Yeah, man, I remember
hold on,
that.
let me research that, bro. Let me research. That's something that I kind of want to see, but just a little small
He's
detail.
from
The
yeah.
fight of
He was
life is a debilitating one, bro. It's a short one and it's brutal, bro.
yeah.
So
His
when we
opponent.
get these fighters that even have more than 20 fucking fights, that's incredible, man. It's good stuff.
Mhm.
Uh,
And imagine people like Tank not having to go through all those fights, like completing like all those fights he's had. He hasn't completed most of them, you know. So I feel like people like Tank, you know, should be still good to go. You know, it's just that he's a lazy fuck, you know, or he's fat. I think shit. I don't know if he's lazy anymore because anyone can really change, you know, especially with his with the stuff that he's been through the past couple weeks or past couple months and stuff like that. But yeah, man. Hello, can you guys hear me? Hello, man. You guys are so. What
yo,
happened, Ricky?
you guys good?
What happened, Rick?
Oh, I don't know. I might have lost reception or internet or something.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think I lost you guys for a little bit.
Yeah, it was just
yeah, I lost you guys too. But yeah. So look, guys, one common trait in all of the fights that Drew just ran by, the top 8 fights of all Mexicans versus Mexicans. You know what? None of those fighters had a defensive outing. They were just
what do
all
you mean by
offense. Well, that meant that they weren't caring. They didn't care about protecting themselves. They cared about destroying each other.
that? Nah.
Uh, that's why they're up there. That's why they're up there because none of those things ended up being where any of those fighters ended up looking clean afterwards. They were beating each other up. That's why those fights are memorable. So we've seen too many of these
Ah.
fights. We we see too many of these fights, and the memorable ones are the most violent ones. That's it. Once in a while, you come across a fight where it's so spectacular, the technical prowess of one guy over the other, like the ones that we just saw 2 weeks ago, where you're just amazed by how spectacular and incredible one fighter was on that night. But for the
Hmm.
most part, the most memorable fights are going to be the most bloody ones. And this is
Hmm.
why I always say, God bless these fighters. I always say, God, may their supreme being bless them for their sacrifice, because that's what they're doing. They're sacrificing themselves. And as good as somebody like Mayweather was, maybe especially in his earlier careers, uh, I don't think he's ever provided us a crazy war in comparison to, let's say, somebody like Manny Pacquiao. So that's why I don't discredit any of them, because they were just different. But I'll probably watch a Manny Pacquiao fight over a Mayweather fight any day. And that's not trying to say
Nah,
anything
bro.
bad about one guy.
You can't say that, bro, because you say that you are a boxing fan, right? And boxing
Hmm.
fan, like I was just trying to tell you and bring up such names of like, you know, Iron Mike. Mike Webster, the football player, not as in Mike Tyson. The reason I bring up those names is if you're gonna call yourself a boxing fan, then you gotta appreciate Floyd and all these other fighters, not because they risk it, no, because Miguel Cotto versus Floyd Mayweather, that's a fight everybody should study. And the reason you want to study that fight, not only is it a very entertaining fight, but Miguel Cotto starts implementing a certain style that starts touching Floyd Mayweather and going around that shoulder roll. You see, being a fan of boxing isn't just signing up for boxing to watch great, amazing fights, right? You watch the sport of boxing and appreciate all art forms. Some are aggressive, some are defensive, some are counter punchers, some are very slick. Some fighters, all they do is come and dance. Some fighters, all they come and do is run and circle around and then fight in a little spurt. Some fighters have great, amazing chin and then they have a wild punch, right? But you can appreciate that. So, yeah.
Oh, I do. I do.
Overall, Pacquiao is very entertaining, but Miguel Cotto and Mayweather was an amazing fight. Mayweather versus Canelo was an amazing boxing match, something that Floyd can never do. Pacquiao can't do what Floyd does.
Look, I love all those sides. I'm not trying to discredit one guy or the other. I'm just saying,
No.
as
Okay. That's
yeah, I'm just saying, like, as a father of a progeny that fight, I tell them watch Mayweather for his defense and his ring IQ. Learn from that guy, from defense. But as a fan, that once you just sit down and watch people beat up on each other, I'm gonna choose the fights that are just more violent. That's why I watch all the fighting and all the platforms, because I know not everybody is defensive like that. They're just gonna be beating each other up, coming forward and seeing who's the lucky guy to stop the other guy off of attrition. That's why I subscribe to every free YouTube channel that shows fights all over the world, because I know not everybody is a defensive wizard, and they're gonna provide that violence that my dark heart desires. Listen, my heart is like this. My heart is as cold as a bitch with a broken heart walking around with a pit bull on a chain. That's how cold my heart is, like a broken-hearted bitch. I apologize. I apologize for
My bad.
for my.
My bad. I thought I was muted.
Bro, what are you talking about, bro?
No, I'm just saying, when I want violence, when I want violence, I want violence. But I'm gonna tell my children, don't fight like that guy. I'm gonna say, go fight like this guy.
You're a hypocrite.
No, I'm just no. It's just like, nobody wants to die. Nobody wants to get hurt, right? But
everybody wants to live.
Look, bro. Look, do you want to watch a fight where nobody hurts each other? Then you know what? Why don't you just stick to the amateurs, where it's just a point-based system? Why don't you just watch the Olympics? Like, nah. I know what I'm here for. I know what I signed up for. You can be as defensive as you want, but there's still going to be hazards posed. The other guy doesn't care about your defense. The other guy doesn't care if you're going to move backwards, if you know how to shoulder roll. He's going to be like, I'm going to figure you out and I'm going to hurt you. So I'm just telling you, I do appreciate both sides of the sport. The more sweet, science, technical based one, and the more aggressive, naturally hostile, and destructive side. But I want my son to be more technical and sweet science versus just a punching bag. You know what I mean? You can do both. We do it all the time.
Nah, bro. Like, you can't do that, bro. You can't have it both ways.
I'm sorry. I have a cold heart.
You'd be like, no, I want to. If you have cold heart, I want my son to be like those warriors that I love to watch but hate to pay. No, bro, you can't.
Why? You don't think I want my son to have money, Mayweather money?
No, if you love Pacquiao, then you want your son to be Pacquiao, and you build him up to be Pacquiao. You don't be like, oh,
I'm cool with that. I'm cool with that.
Wars, and my son will, salvage his brain and box from the outside and be slick and play it smart. What the fuck is that? That almost seems like you don't really respect your kid.
Wait, are you saying you're not a hypocrite? Are you saying you're not a hypocrite?
Dude, listen. Most
Are
men,
you saying you're not a hypocrite?
most men watch porn. If I got signed a contract, I
I've
would.
never watched porn.
Oh, okay, yeah, right.
What's porn?
Something that rhymes with corn.
It's popcorn, right? That's what it is.
Hey,
It's
what happened?
popcorn.
What happened to Diesel? What happened to Drew?
I think since he's so young, as soon as we started to talk about pop and corn, he's like, "Oh my my delicate ears can't be here to hear that."
Yeah, I feel it, bro. It's all good, man. Look, I'm gonna wrap it up, man, because I'm gonna go make myself a coffee and enjoy this honey bun. But is there anything else that you want to wrap it up? What have you been? Nah, because that's gonna. He said his.
No, I just wanted to say, if anybody's into comic books, um, listen, I just started getting back into comic books. I have comic book collection from the 70s, 80s, 90s, and then some of the early 2000s. Then I stopped, and then I ended up going to a garage sale. Some guy was selling hundreds of old comic books for cheap, so I bought them again, and then I started reading them, and then I'm like, I love these things. I used to love them when I was a kid, but if you love comic books, there's some very good selections out there. And today I just picked up the new Conan the Barbarian
Yeah,
series.
yeah, you said that. I don't mean to cut you off, but you said that 2 hours ago when I.
Yeah, when you got all butthurt
Well, yeah,
and started mopping floors.
but
And
hold
started
on.
mopping floors. I'm just trying to wrap it up, and I'm just saying, if you wanna read comic books or shoot the shit about
No,
comic
no,
books,
no, no. You see, that's a great comic book, the Conan series. But what's even better is this one that you guys bought me for my birthday, right? It was what? The Last Man Yorick. The Last Man Y. Bro,
why the Last Man?
that right there is a great comic book. Not even a comic book, it's a graphic novel. Just like
Same
13
thing.
books, but I only have the first five. That right there is an amazing series. It's very, how do I like put it into a synopsis to make it very brief and short? Obviously, hence the title, it's the last man on earth, right? The last man. Why? The guy, why the letter Y? Because his name is Yorick. So anyway, he's the last man on earth, and that's not what makes the comic book or the story interesting. What makes it interesting is all the men disappear, and now all the women take over. It's almost like a feminist book in a sense, but it's even better because of all the
Better than a feminist?
listen. No, I wouldn't really.
God forbid.
I wouldn't necessarily say it's that, but it's like female empowerment. And what I mean by that is all the jobs that men had, whether it's like construction, military, let's say waste management, let's say any profession regarding men, are now replaced by women. But instead of, men, using waste management trucks and, picking up the trash or whatever, the women have to go about in the first couple of years picking up the dead bodies of the males, right? Because all the pestilence, all the bacteria, they got to collect all the bodies to restabilize civilization.
Huh?
Let alone you find this little pimple-faced kid named Yorick Brown, if I'm not mistaken, that's his last name, and he's all about like fighting his girlfriend, and she's over there in Australia, and that's all I want to say. But that story is fucking epic. It's really good. It's very thought out. It's elaborative, and it's a fantastic way to write great storytelling. Anyway, that narrative is fantastic. I'm not saying Conan, it's not a great story, but when it comes down to what I've read this year, in the past years, there's graphic novels like Watchmen, Sin City, Bone, the Sandman. I'm gonna put the Last Man Y up there with them. Like you have
Wow.
to. I'm serious, bro. Like the first five installments that I've read are fantastic. It's great. Like I'm surprised that there's not a show or there's movies about this topic.
Well, it's
Uh,
probably not
and I wouldn't necessarily
popular in the
call it a
milieu.
feminist book, but it's like a solid female empowerment, but it's also like balanced out. It's fucking great, bro.
You,
It's fantastic.
I guess, yeah. No, and once you yeah. So no, Conan is definitely just the opposite. Conan is a very simple comic book about a marauder that just takes over people and just loots for the booty. That's it. The booty being the
Loots the
lady,
booty? Oh.
and no, and the booty being the loot, like the money, the gold. So he's a very simple man. He knows what he wants and like that. But I don't mind it making my life a little more sophisticated and getting my brain working. So if you ever finish that graphic novel or a series of graphic novels, let me borrow it. Otherwise, I just wanted to address the one question, the one subject that Mr. Larry Liston brought up. But before we leave, um, he said that Clarissa Shields, the greatest witch of all time, signed a two-fight deal with MMA promotion, professional fighter league. Sorry to go off topic, guys, and we didn't really talk about that, which is fine, right? Because because we were on other subjects. But I wonder who she's gonna fight. Like, I wonder why it's just a two-fight deal. Um, that I'm just thinking, it's going to be two consecutive fights where she's going to be absent of the sport for like the foreseeable future. Is she trying to make her MMA career something she wants to take more seriously? I remember that she ended up losing her very first professional bout in any sport at that more varied fighting style. But yeah, that's a very intriguing uh, concept, which might actually allow some girls to, if she does leave the sport for, let's say, a year or so for those two fights, that does allow some girls to move uh, in the sport of boxing, making some intriguing fights. I don't think anybody's ducking Clarissa Shields necessarily, but who else can Clarissa Shields fight? Like Shadesha Green? Like, I don't think she wants to fight her.
No, I
Um,
think that's why, try to reinforce your point. The reason why she signed with the PFL is not only just the challenge, but she don't really got names. Like, sure, she can fight Shadesha Green, but that's going back to why she's calling out Keith Thurman, is because in terms of her weight class, there's not anything that really either challenges her or appeals to her in the sense of waking up in the morning, doing all this mileage sparring. So she wants the challenge. And she notices that in her weight classes in female boxing, the talent is not there. And she's already beaten the talent that is there, right?
yeah,
The Canadian girl, Declare, she's
they're
really good.
clear.
She's slick. Christina Hammer is really good, but she already beat these girls and it made it look easy.
Hmm.
Same thing with not Natasha Jonas, but the Savannah Marshall. She made it look easy,
Hmm.
and so
Hey,
yeah,
did she ever fight
MMA
um
and UFC. That's where she should go because like her female throne. There's that saying, right? Heavy is the head that wears the crown. That's Clarissa. Like her throne right there won't. Well, look, two-time gold medalist, three-time undefeated in female boxing. She's a legend. I feel like she's doing the same road that the girl that kicked Ronda Rousey in the face. What was the name of that white girl?
oh Holly
Hollywood
Holly
Holmes.
Holmes.
Holly Holmes. I think that's the only way that Clarissa is gonna get the challenge is if she does a completely entire different sport or she engages in an exhibition match with Keith Thurman or a male, right? Because aside from that, and honestly, Clarissa's skill, like she's great for a woman, but take that little skill that she has and match it up with the best male elite, man, she's gonna look rudimentary and basic. She gonna get hit with a truck by a truck, and she ain't gonna like that shit.
So you see, now you're making me think that Clarissa, and I don't doubt it. I don't think I really ever did, but I think Clarissa Shields actually believes, actually may be bored of boxing, because
Or
she
no,
is.
female boxing for sure.
Yeah, yeah, and no, well, boxing as she knows it, and she's like, you know what? I could beat up a dude. You know what? I need a challenge. Let me go where someone else has more than just their fist to attack me with. Let's go where people can kick me. Let's go where people can, choke me out and grapple me and break a bone or two. Maybe she's already bored of what she's done, and she doesn't see the sport allowing her to entertain her own. Um, uh desires to become even better, because like you said, there's not that many challenges there for her. Shadesha Green, I think, is a valid one, but otherwise I don't think I want to see a rematch between her and Marshall. So
I would
yeah, I
like
think
Clarissa versus Canelo. She talks a gang of shit about Canelo. Oh, you should fight Andrew. You should fight Charlo. It's like, bro.
who you want a Clarissa versus? Well, that's look again. I like fights where they're realistic and they get acclimated to a weight in a fighting style.
Nah, bring it on, bro. If you want to fight Keith Thurman, I want to see Canelo.
Look, look, she's not gonna fight no dude, bro. Like if she were to fight a dude, somebody sent me a post about this meme. They're trying to refer. Uh, there was this man hitting this chick, being all annoying. I'm not gonna say who sent it to me, but that's exactly what's gonna happen if she gets into a fight with a male dude. There's no way, bro. She's great for a female. Uh, Technically, what has to happen, she needs to, for it to even be possible, because legally she can't do that. She has to actually petition for that. She has to go up to one of the sanctioning bodies and she has to petition, and she has to hope that they actually approve of that fight. And I know most, like they say, like most states won't even accept those type of fights. So they won't. I don't see it happening unless it's like in the fucking alley.
Well, I'm not
Boxing.
trying to be ironic. I'm not trying to be ironic here, but how about this? What if she identifies as a male?
Oh my god, you just fucking dropped the bomb on me. Yeah, yeah.
What are you gonna say? I mean, her
Well,
legal rights, right?
oh shit, fuck it. Damn, you got me there, bro. You got me there. This day
I'm
and
not.
age,
I'm not even trying to be ironic either. I'm trying to be serious.
you're
She
trying to
could
be
do that.
funny. You trying to be
No,
funny.
I thought it would sound funny when I said it, but I was like, "Yo, who's gonna stop her? Like, who's gonna say no? You're a woman. Like, you tell that to Clarissa Shields?
Nah,
Oh
bro,
man, that's a
nah.
good one.
Listen,
I
listen,
mean, I'm not
listen.
even trying to.
Don't even say
That's
that.
funny
Don't
and
even
it's
say that.
clever.
And it's true though. It could happen like that.
Yeah, dude, that's clever, but it's
She'll sue
dangerous.
the federal government. She'll sue these sanctioning bodies to leave them broke if they say no. If they don't sanction it, she'll be like, "Yo, courthouse."
Yeah, no, she needs to legally that won't happen, bro, because she has to petition and all that. But yeah, that's a good one, bro. But that means that
Listen,
means
listen.
that means
I
the
know this
opposing
is the
male that means the opposing male has to meet her halfway and be like, I oppose.
no look in this era of misfit
Clarisso, hey,
and
Clarisso.
wait. In this era of misfit boxing, 20 years ago, Oscar De La Hoya was boxing Shaq. All
Talking
right,
about two
the
males, right?
basketball player Shaquille O'Neal. Oscar held his own. I believe Clarissa can hold her own against some male boxers. Not the best male boxer, a full-fledged fight, no, with animosity, no. But what's gonna happen in these type of matches is, let's say she gets in the ring with and she's fighting or quote unquote sparring Keith Thurman. The minute Keith Thurman gets popped with a good shot from Clarissa, Keith Thurman's gonna have to protect himself. He's gonna have
Yeah.
to maybe hit a left hook or a hard jab just so she can be tamed. Or else, at the end of the day, you don't want to get embarrassed. It's like, oh yeah, you're fighting your little nephew, and your nephew, I'm gonna go light on him, and next thing you know, he's popping your shit back with a jab, boom, 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 and a two, and then the three, and you're like, fuck, dude, this guy's actually pretty good. I can't just, blog and like I'm playing with my girlfriend. Nah, bro, like you're gonna have to hit him with some shit, or else he's about to knock you the fuck out.
Hmm.
With Keith and
But
Clarissa, it'll be
but
nice, cute,
I think
artsy until it isn't. And she's laying hands on him. And what is a guy supposed to do? Like that post somebody sent you, boom, and puts you in your place.
yeah, man, that's like
Oh,
that's like
era of the
that's
misfit.
fantasy talk right there, bro. But I think she needs to fight Marshall, bro. Marshall's the real threat. I want to see it again. Marshall had high punch volume. Uh, she was able to pressure, like she was pretty much pressuring her the whole fight. and Marshall's just, I mean, Clarissa just has that sharp jab, you know. But I think Marshall was really trying to piece her up and actually exhaust her, and she was getting tired throughout the fight. Uh, I want to see that rematch, bro. I think Marshall's the type to think better the next time. You know, she doesn't. She doesn't really. You could tell she doesn't really focus too much on the physical attributes. I think she really is trying to outthink this chick. You know, you can even see it when they were like talking on in the press conference. She was like she's in there. She doesn't talk too much, but man, she was quiet and she kept a smile on her face. I kind of like that shit, you know. Especially when she didn't really give her, you know, an easy match. I don't think it was easy um, for Clarissa. I think Marshall really put it on her, and I think Clarissa uh, was expecting it. But Marshall, bro, that's the number one. That's the number one threat right now. No one. That's 1 and 2 right there. Marshall beats everyone as well. You know. So they gotta start putting respect on Marshall, bro, because shit, she could fight a dude as well. I think she's better off fighting some dudes than Clarissa, but I don't know. She should that, but no female should be fighting no male. You know, that's just me.
Well, yeah, I don't think a male should strike a female in any circumstance.
Clarissa
And
started it, but you
yeah,
know,
and I don't think a woman should ever be hitting a man either, for that matter. So yeah,
Yeah, but this is we're not talking about man versus woman here. I mean, we're talking about professional versus professional.
it's still man versus woman though.
But it's a
yes,
professional, it's different.
yeah, but you got two different types of humans, bro. We're just developed differently. You know, like what like the science says it all, bro. Like we just produce more hormones. We bro, like at a certain age, you know, we were like teenagers. We were capable of beating some grown woman ass, bro. You know, because we're just bigger. You know, like yeah. So we're just way stronger. We got more man strength. You
Yeah,
know.
but it's all about the skills though, bro. It's all about
It,
the
it
skills.
is partially, but both of those. I was gonna say both of those guys, but both of those fighters, both of those fighters are uh, very highly skilled. Except one has very dense muscles.
Wait, so
Uh,
you guys don't think she
Ugh.
should fight? You guys don't think Marshall should be the next fight?
It'd be a good fight. I mean, it should happen, but
yeah,
like Mr. Larry Listen says, if she already signed a 2-fight deal with PFL, and she's probably gonna do kickboxing MMA over there. So
Yeah, she
and
just
I don't mind that. I want that actually. I want to see that.
she can also do like bare knuckle boxing, but
wow. So the
Whoa!
money must not be coming
But
in then,
anyway,
huh?
guys, look, man, we've been on this live for 3 hours. We really gotta like
Shut up.
shorter, bro.
What a joy kill! What a joy
Oh,
kill!
relax. But
Drew, this guy literally just spends his time mopping floors.
put your closing statements. Put your closing statements. And yeah, man, cause
We gotta pick a better pick a subject, and we gotta strike. We gotta fucking
and just
execute.
make one topic. This is crazy. Nah. It's good, but
It's
I
good.
don't
I
know
mean,
what we'll do the next live. I know I
it,
won't be saying tomorrow,
it's
but nah, I
it's
think I'm
really all
gonna
about
do it after
cons-
Emmanuel Navarrete, maybe on a Sunday. When
yeah.
Navarrete and Oscar Valdez get us some time to get fresher material, organize, make adjustments to the stream,
Mm-hmm.
maybe learn how to put some visuals up, maybe dub it with some music in the background. I got a playlist of samples that my beat makers have sent me.
Well, that's funny that you mentioned that because when I was in the comic book store, I approached my good friend Acapulco Cal, um, and I told him I need you to make me a beat that is hard and aggressive, perfect for boxing. Superimpose some Jim Lampley, Mayweather, something right there, some good funny quips. Just throw it up in there and make it for a uh, a live channel that we're putting up. He said, "Bet." He said, "Bet." I'm like, "No, I don't. I'm not a betting type." But he said, "Bet." So Yeah,
That's a
we got
newer.
that.
That's a newer phrase.
Bet.
That's a slang. That's slang word now.
Yeah,
It
bet.
means he's got to do it, huh?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, he said, I'm going to do it. I said, okay.
Anyway,
So-
on that note, go listen to some Acapulco Cal, aka Cal Paradox, aka Danny Chicka Chicka Fresh, and have a good night, guys.
All
All right,
right, good
man.
night.
Good night.
Later, Drew.
All right,
Later,
man. See
Drew.
y'all.
Later, everybody that's to the panel. Appreciate y'all. Love y'all. Till the next.
Thanks. All right, stop being a jerk.
Later, bro.